Welcome everyone to BR Jungle, a Havoc podcast. Today is Monday like always, and as you can see, we have other fun little signs up there we'll get to in a second. But as you all know, I am Gerald C., your host. We have the newest of the new of the podcast. You have Olen over there as the co-host, and then just talked about the sponsors really quick. We have Olen, which is also there, but he's just here to be a fun guy, but he also sells. Am I allowed to say the best? I think I'd get in trouble if I say best, but top of the line gun stocks, good gun stocks. Because I start saying best, I think people might come from my head. But anyways, pretty much Havoc. If the game allows it, we use them. They make us accurate. I love it. And then we also have Ruck up right there as well. He'll be on next week, and he sells head straps, and he pretty much takes anything innovated and he kind of makes it, and he said, hey, let's make a VR community event. Let's make people have some really good products out there as well. So more about him next week. Not going to get too much into it now. But anyways, the main reason we're here is the logo right there is Beer and Headshots. And he also goes by jBahr. jBahr, you want to say who you are within the community and anything else?
Sure. Hey, thank you for having me. I am jBahr with Beer and Headshots. Just been a streamer for a long time. Fell in love with VR pretty much right after the Index came out. Mm-hmm. I got introduced to VR through, I think, probably the way everybody did, like Beat Saber. I was at a friend's house and he had an OG Vive and played a bit of Beat Saber. And then he dropped me into like Dust 2 on Pavlov, and that like blew my mind because I've been a long time Counter-Strike player. I guess I'd call it like semi-pro back in my younger days, and that's what I did for a long time. And so yeah, just being able to like run around and like Dust 2 in a game that felt like Counter-Strike in VR was kind of mind-blowing for me. So that got me into the Index, and I had been streaming for a long time before that, but not too long after that, I became pretty much a VR streamer, and I have this really interesting mix of I have a very addictive personality, right? And then I also hate my bank account. So when I get really into something, I tend to really get into it. So I as for anyone that's seen my stream, I'm really into the immersive stuff. I got the VR treadmill from Cat VR. I bought the first generation one myself, and then I love gun stocks. I started off with the Pro Tube. Eventually I went with the spine from Olen VR here. So total coincidence, that I'm on the podcast with you too. But yeah, honestly, it's just I love all the tech around it. I love all the gadgets with it, and I fell in deep. So I've been streaming VR for the last couple of years and having a good time with it. And I guess I'm probably known as the dude who runs around on a VR treadmill and tries to play competitive shooters. So there's not a lot of us out there, but yeah, that's me.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. How you doing over there this week, Olen?
Oh, I'm good. I have barely been able to sleep with this whole Veil thing, this whole Veil booth we got fixed up now. Last Monday they offered it, and yeah, so now I'm just trying to get everything going, trying to get the funds, trying to get the planning, trying to see if we can get some family friends coming through, and overall though I'm really excited. I just want to do it the right way. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm finally going to meet the Veil team, a lot of cool people, so everybody else, whoever else can show up, hopefully you guys maybe, might just buy a random ticket. It'd be cool to meet you dudes, but yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's like right around the corner, the lovely Miami tournament of Vail, which I have high hopes for it. And if they fail, I'm sorry, everyone that loves esports, like they ruined it for you. That's a joke, by the way. So yeah, I think they're gonna do a really good job. They have a really good game they're playing around and all that stuff. Have you yet, jBahr, played that game with your treadmill?
Yeah, I played, actually. I was in like a really early on play test before they had the artifact mode, and then I didn't play or I didn't play it at all for a long time. And then just recently I've been coming back to it every now and then, and I really like what they've done. I was kind of waiting for it to get a little more fleshed out, and I was really excited for the artifact mode because I'm just into that kind of competitive aspect. And it just like most games, it works great on the treadmill, and it's a workout, man. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I mean, I have so many questions with the treadmill stuff. I can go on and on about that. But you also mentioned esports, and I don't think in your introduction that you said what team you're part of. You're part of, why did it escape my mind?
Homeland Esports, Pavlov,
yes. For Pavlov, right?
Yeah, we actually started an Onward, and we did a tournament. I'm trying to remember what the tournament was called, but Pig on, if you guys know Pig on PC and 4K,
Yep.
he was actually one of the commentators for some of our matches, and that's kind of how I got introduced to him for the first time. But yeah, we just it was a group of us that kind of randomly set up a group to play Onward in this tournament. And then one of the guys, Cled, which I think some of you guys know too, he had a hookup with Homeland, and yeah, we just decided to start like the first VR team for Homeland, which was Onward. And Onward wasn't quite my pacing or my style. I do enjoy it, and I want to get back to playing it a little bit more and get back into it a little bit. But Pavlov, like I said, because of my past with Counter-Strike, has just been kind of a I don't know. I'm just always stuck on that game. I always go back to it. So decided to create a team for that, and so now I'm captain of the Homeland Pavlov team.
That's awesome. I don't know if you know this, but we actually picked up a team for Pavlov.
That
yeah. So we I don't know what they're going to go by yet. They've been trying to discuss their names right now, but they were Narcos.
Oh shit. Okay, I was
Cobra
hoping that
Cartel.
you like.
Cobra Cartel.
It's just James and them. That's a good team. I was hopeful that you picked up a team of all like new guys, because that's what the league needs more. I mean, Narcos is great and I love them, but they have stomped us before. Pavlov's just in a crazy spot right now with the league, and in terms of it's only teams of people that have been playing it for a long time. So we're really trying to push to get more new teams in there, which has been fun.
So do you think that, so I came from, I tried to make a team, but for Pavlov, for Shaq, not the actual Pavlov, because I play Quest. I think that some communities in Pavlov make it very hard for new teams to come in because, I don't know if you've seen it, but it sometimes can be pretty toxic when you try and join, like, certain lobbies coming in. Like, I know when I came in, they already knew I was an organization, and I tried to make a team in there, and they're just like, hey, this isn't like your typical stuff. You actually have to work at it and everything. I'm just like, yeah, I know that. And then they just made me feel like shit every time I was in there. I'm like, you know what? I'm done with you guys for a second until I find someone that can run this for me, because, if you're not part of that community, if you weren't the startup of that, they make it stupid
tough.
hard.
I think I've been hardened over my years on the internet playing like competitive Counter-Strike, right? Where toxic lobbies is kind of something I was born into in a way, I think. So I deal with those environments pretty well. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It's extremely hard for PC Pavlov right now. Like if you were a new person and say like, yeah, you're coming from Shaq. There's a lot more people just in general because of the Quest 2 on Shaq. And if you come over to PC Pavlov and try to get into like any of like the really competitive lobbies, you see the same guys in there every time. And a lot of them are great. We've met a lot of teams that are, I would say, like the higher level. Like one that I can think of is like Wonderland, who they got a captain named Lubden, and he actually helped coach us with some things. He he got into a server with a couple of our guys and recorded a little session. So there are some good ones out there, but they are kind of sometimes covered in this mass of toxic dudes and kids. Yeah
and I mean that's just VR nature as well. Like there's so many first person shooters out there, and they just keep bringing them, and then like the already kind of smaller growing community that we have, it's like you pick one, and it if you try and go into a new one, if the game's not new, sorry, like you're probably going to be cycled out pretty quickly. So and also with Havoc, we try and maintain at least a top 10 team, if not top 5 in the game. So us starting a new team, getting our ass whooped is just just not in the cards anymore. It used to be, but
it's not fun either. Trust me.
No, it's not.
Sometimes it is, but sometimes it's pretty rough.
What's cool though is I've known jBahr. Like I started my company Olen VR back in March of last year, and then once I started TikTok, I stumbled upon jBahr's profile. And from then on, I really started to get acquainted with the entire competitive community and see how things really operate. And then, with Homeland, that was the first team we sponsored. Really good people. But it was interesting to see how there's just a lack of structure, unfortunately. Like you had the connections already and you had the past experience. So luckily you guys already had that. But like for newcomers, if you have to just be willing to get stomped on for like 2 years, maybe a couple seasons. And then like with you guys, I'm easily seeing how you're progressing. You're winning more rounds within full matches, which is awesome. But yeah, there's still like that. There's still a large gap, and you have to really be determined. You got to practice a lot. But it's cool to watch.
There's just no good spread of teams, right? When you have such a little pool, like so we're playing against bronze teams who have been in the league since like the 3rd season, right? So it's yeah, I mean, like there's not enough people to really like kind of spread the love a bit, right? So there's no like climb. It's more like once we kind of got our groove, it's like there's a couple teams that we can come out on top of, but the rest are still great, right? And we don't have all these other guys to kind of I don't know, fatten the pot a bit.
Yeah. I've noticed the leagues kind of calmed down for a second from like 2020 until now. Like there's leagues popping up all the time. New game come out, freaking 3 to 4 leagues just popping out of nowhere. I think we're finally establishing structured league formatting to where VRML will always have VRML. They're established pretty well. I think that they're pretty structured. They got a nice website. You have VREL that's coming up that they just rebuilt their website. They're doing all their openings for people to sign up. That's they have one of the best developers I've seen for websites is working for them. And then you have the NEPA Pro series that I know the CEO. I know him very well. He was on the podcast. Really cool dude. And their structure is like pretty much making VR like NBA or the NFL. So that's really neat as well. But then you have the other ones, like what is the one that's working for Miami? It's VR. IVRL, right?
IVRL, yeah.
And so, they're just coming up. I think they only have Onward and Veil right now. So hopefully they become structured as well. I think they're going to set the tone with this tournament. I know NEPA, they did their lane event in St. Louis the beginning of this year, and it was phenomenal. They're already planning for the next one. So I just wanted to chill out because, like, anymore you're getting to the point where it's like, this is the league that I have to be in.
I mean, it's too much. Like, VR. I don't know what other people's opinion is on this quite yet, but like, I mean, like VR is still in baby stages for esports, right? Like, we still don't know. I don't know. Maybe I don't know if I piss anyone off by saying this, but like we don't have any nothing out there currently, right? Is professional, right? In my opinion, I don't think there's like the what you'd consider right now like a professional gamer level of like esports, right? There's just not the money in it yet. There's all these teams and orgs like you guys and all that getting set up in Homeland and all that, which is awesome. But eventually like kind of the dust is going to settle and there's going to probably be a couple of these games that are going to be able to be pulling out these consistent like higher level money tournaments, and then that's where we see the orgs either really grow or even like current professional gaming orgs out there start picking up teams for VR, and I think that's when it's really going to start skyrocketing.
Yeah, but... and I've talked to people about this all the time. It's like the scary thought is that when FaZe comes in or anyone higher up like that, which is what is it, Cryptek or something, like what's another one that's a esports team and Optic.
Team Liquid.
Yeah.
I watch a lot of the flat screen esports.
And so
Cloud9.
If these organizations in VR right now don't figure out how to stabilize and start getting sponsors now, in the next 5 years they're gone, because as soon as these top
tier teams will get eaten.
Oh, yep.
Exactly.
Yeah. They're just those people that have the money now are going to come in like, I will give you $5,000. Let me just have your team, and we'll consume them, and we'll give them sponsorships.
Well, and at that point, I mean, I think that is in a sad way. It's almost the natural order of things, right? That kind of has to happen for there to be more money in general in like the scene. And you really can't blame like usually the players of the orgs for kind of taking their first cut that they can finally get out of what they've been working on.
Exactly.
But yeah, my hope is by the time we get to that point, there's just enough of a spread, right? And like there can only really be, I think at the beginning, probably a few game, like in terms of just competitive shooters for VR, maybe a few of them that come out on top, right? That are actually consistent and get teams like that for. But yeah, once that happens, we'll kind of start seeing that thing that the big orgs come down and see when they get interested.
Do you think it's going to take a AAA game to be in VR for that to happen, or do you think someone like Veil might become a new version of a AAA game? Because Call of Duty, Activision, and that branding, they weren't always a AAA game. They came up as a small game for a second, and obviously their very first game they made was a freaking hit. It was when they come out. I think it was like early 1998 they came out their first game, like something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I don't think anything has to be a AAA game, right, to be that successful. I mean, I think the only reason that helps is like, so say like your League of Legends and you got Riot behind you and they can, they have the money to put into tournaments and kind of feed their own game. Mm-hmm. But then you have games, I'll harken back to what I know, and that's Counter-Strike, which started off as like a mod for Half-Life, right? Like that wasn't, that had a very tiny team of guys, right? And then they finally sold to Valve, and then it kind of blew up from there. So maybe a little bit of a different story, but yeah, you don't have to start out, I don't think, as a AAA game. I think you eventually kind of get there naturally if you're going to get that many millions of people that are interested, right? And I think Vale, what I like about them in particular is their focus on making it a pleasing to watch spectator sport, right? Like they're doing this work with Live and just really kind of focusing as well kind of on the commentator experience and the actual casting experience. So they're building from the ground up kind of the framework that you need to have a successful esport. And I think that's a big part of the battle, is making your game watchable, especially in VR, because VR, especially for people who aren't always in it like we are, it's a really hard medium to consume, right? Like my oldest brother is probably not going to want to watch, like VR stuff when it's all unstabilized and shaky and all that. But, as soon as like with Vale, they threw in the spectator third person view. Okay, well, that's instantly recognizable by everybody, right? You got all the Fortnite people, you got, all these other things like, it just makes it watchable and just a little bit more consumable. And I think that's going to make that gives Vale a pretty big leg up, I think, in the esport business.
Yeah, for sure. And I've been trying to work on something. I can't tell anybody. I've been telling some people, but I've been trying to work on an idea to make things better watchable. And we'll see how that comes down the road. But that's limited on what I can say. But I can tell you, I think you'll like it. I think you might jump on an idea. But it's the more people I talk about it on here, then it's out the door.
That's right. You got to be careful with that. Hold it close to the chest. I know I've been working with Live a bit. I'm with a few guys in a Discord that they have for us that, playing with their first person view stabilizer. And that works really well. Like if you get that and you're in like contractors and stuff, it stabilizes it really well. But the biggest problem I'm having right now is it doesn't work for Pavlov. And Pavlov devs apparently are incredibly stubborn. Like they just want to do what they want to do. And they don't take a lot of input from other people, like probably the least amount compared to any other game I've seen. But like with Live, Easy Anti-Cheat blocks the first-person view stabilizer, and if we had that, I think it would make Pavlov much more watchable, right? Like at least you especially with people that play really fast and all that, you kind of just get a better view of it. But we've basically gotten as far as them telling us that they are going to implement it, but no ETA. Which also, there's still screens in Pavlov that have said coming soon for the last like 5 years. So yeah. ETA with them is kind of, or no ETA with them is kind of scary, but I'm hoping that eventually comes through because that stabilizer has been awesome for content.
Yeah, they're doing good stuff. Go ahead.
I think there's just the one thing it's hard as a viewer. I watch jBahr a lot, just because he's cool dude. But when he gets in his competitive games, and Vale still has this problem now too. They're probably gonna. I hope they fix it, where you just get in that dark room, and then especially to draw more people into this community. You got someone, short attention span, 10 seconds, they pop into the stream. It's just a dude standing in a black room looking at like a screen. Okay, he's schizophrenic. I'm going to go to the next game or whatever. And then you lose the opportunity to have a new player like part of your entire community. Then that 10 seconds gone, and maybe a year they come back. But
and I die a lot, right? So it's a good chunk of time that I'm sitting there, right? And you don't have anything to watch. And as an IGL, like as an in-game leader, I want to see that first person view of my teammates so that I can try to, maybe say some things, and maybe I keep coaching the team as we play. I mean, that's what you can do in pretty much anything else. And I think it's just a limitation. From what I understand, this was before I was playing Pavlov competitively, but they used to have a competitive room where when you died, there was like a TV in it or something, and you could see your
basketball and stuff.
Well, there you go. So at least you got something to do while you're sitting there. And then, and that's kind of the beauty of VR, right? Is that like, you can just do stuff like with your body. You're not just sitting there staring at a screen. So it's like, just adding like a little bit of something that you can do in the middle would even be nice. But if they took it away, I'm sure it's performance reasons. I think that's what it always comes down to.
So they have it for Shaq, but during competitiveness, like when I was in the competitive scene for Pavlov Shaq, they made it a rule to where you were not allowed. It went straight to dark mode, and you just were there talking to people. It was the blackout mode, and they did that so you weren't coaching people alongside, telling them where they're at. Because even though they took the comms away and your overhead, you could still be on a Discord, mute yourself on your headset, and just be like, hey, they're right here.
Well, that's if you're legit ghosting, right? Like if it actually like blacks out the room and all you can see is the first person view of your teammates, that's a little bit more on the competitive scene. Yeah. Like the ghosting stuff definitely.
Yeah, this was a full on like you're pretty much watching the whole entire map happen as it goes. But it was good for my content, like when I was putting it on stream, but then when I died, I'm just like, have fun looking at this black screen while we all talk shit to each other.
It's tough. It's tough to be entertaining when you're just standing in a dark room.
Yeah, just a dark room. You're in a dark room, just freaking still, just having fun with yourself, with your.
Pretty much, yeah.
So,
sweating, yeah.
Have you burnt through any of the shoes yet?
No, actually. The original I've got the second generation Catwalk, right? So I've got the Catwalk C2 Plus now because I was incredibly lucky and Cat VR apparently likes me. But I bought the first one on my own. But yeah, I mean, like the first shoes, I think they're like the quality wise, they're great. I mean, I didn't get any holes in the first ones. The only thing I did do is I replaced the laces because they had these little like yeah, it's hard to, you've seen them everywhere, right? They're little bungee things that just got a plastic clip on the end. And like that, I think that clip like broke off on one, so I just replaced the laces with some other easy to throw on stuff. But yeah, other than that, no, they're still ripping. And for some reason, when they sent me the Catwalk C2, I don't have them right next to me, otherwise I'd grab them. I don't know if they did this on purpose, but they sent me like 5 boxes of shoes, like one of each different size, even though they asked my size ahead of time. So I have like spares, I guess, now at this point if I ever need them. But yeah, they're still working great, man.
Yeah, they didn't cheap out on their treadmills. That price tag comes with that quality.
Oh shit, hang on. The new ones were close enough to me where. Yeah.
So do the LEDs make you go faster on the bottom?
But yeah, I mean, if they're fully charged. But I don't know if it's gonna focus with this. But yeah, like look at these. Like you can wear these out on the street. People probably compliment you. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, not too bad. But yeah,
they'll look way more comfortable.
Little sensors. Yeah, these ones are definitely a little bit more comfortable.
They look
like
comfortable, yeah.
A little bit more squishy, but yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I've seen them. Man, if I could afford stuff like that, I'd definitely be freaking in that type of world too. Like with the B-haptic suit and all that fun stuff, you know.
Yeah, I'm just irresponsible with my money, so that's what it gets me.
hey, at least you gotta have fun, all right.
Yeah.
But like, so I guess like B-haptics just came out with a new glove as well. Have you heard about those?
Yeah,
they're like about $300.
Are you associated with B-haptics?
Nope.
Are you gonna get mad at me if I have a bad take on them?
Nope,
okay,
nope.
Not bad as a company. Not bad as a company. Not bad as anything. But I think the vest is a little overhyped. I have one, right? I bought one myself of the Taxoot X40, and I don't think it's bad. I like it. I like that I actually have integrations for it on my stream and everything. But I don't I don't get the blown away immersion feel from it that like some people have advertised.
Yeah.
But not a bad thing. Again, I'm happy. Like if it works for other people, they love it. That's great. But I'm always kind of cautious when someone asks me if I would recommend it because I'd like to wait. I've been waiting to get the OWO vest. I've been talking with them a little bit, and that one seems nice because. So I like haptics, like vibrations on top of my body. And sorry, I know you started with the gloves. I'll get to those, but I'm going to make my rant.
Yeah, you're good.
But so you know, vibrations on top of the body just don't feel immersive or right.
You
right?
want
like
them,
just
you
feels
want them
like
below
something's
the
on top
waist.
of you. Well, maybe not just the waist, but you know, eventually maybe, you know, it depends what add-ons come out.
Oh, that'll
like,
for sure.
Yeah, of course. But like the stimulation makes sense, right? The muscle stimulation makes sense because then you kind of actually have like in a way, like a visceral reaction to something happening to you versus just feeling something on top of you. I do like the outside haptics with the force tube. So I kind of put I put a force tube on my spine because I got a force tube from ProTube VR back in the day. And when I have that up and running, that feels good because that's recoil, right? And you want to feel that kind of haptic. But when it's like something with the chest, or if I'm going to get shot or stabbed, I don't want to feel like I'm getting shot or stabbed, but I want to feel something, right? Not just something.
So you don't want to get shocked. You're telling me you just don't want to get shocked.
I mean, that's fine too, I guess. I mean, maybe not like consistently, right? Like if it was a shock, like I think the OWO vest like a muscle stimulant, right? But if it was a consistent shock, I could see that being hard for anybody to wear for too long.
That's how real the competitive scene to get. You go to a lane event, these guys are getting dropped with an actual zap to them.
You're sweating. You're gonna be sweating. Like you're gonna be hitting those corners very slowly every time now.
I think I heard you mention something about that we should actually get into after the glove conversation here about esports and like what people should be doing with VR. Yeah. I like that idea, and I've thought about that a lot. But yeah, so the gloves, these are like the Tactici, right? They're called Tactici.
I think so. Yeah, I was looking at them today.
The haptics are just in the fingertips, right?
I believe so, but it makes it to where I thought it actually feels like you're grabbing something though. They had it at that Worldcon or the GameCon, but
are you sure it makes you feel like, does it do tension in the fingers? Are you sure about that?
The one that they showed might not have been that company, but I don't know. I didn't really look into their specs as much, just because I'm not really too trusted into gloves right now.
Yeah, and
these are
I'm
like
in the same
boxing
boat.
gloves.
So no, the tack glove ones that I've seen, they're like the $300 ones from B Haptics, and they, my understanding is they do like the haptics in the fingers, and then they only work for like the hand tracking mode, right? For Quest.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's a very niche haptic market for like a $300 set of gloves, right? Like I think when you can get things like from what am I, Lucid VR, why am I losing his Luke, what's his name, he
Lucas?
makes
Lucas
VR. So he, you know, when he has those $30 full on, you know, like VR gloves that can do tensioning in the fingers and stuff, like for that you can build for like 30-40 bucks. Like when you have that out there, I just find it a lot less appealing to buy like a $300 glove that only works with my Quest 2, only through the pass through, and only on the fingertips. You know what I mean? Like it just,
it's a lot of money to invest for such a small reward or like experience rather.
And nothing against B Haptics. Honestly, one of the first thing I was wowed when I unboxed mine and saw like the quality of it. Like for $500, it's definitely good quality. You know, and I like it for what it is, and it's not advertised as anything different. Just, you know, as like a content creator, it's not something that, or as like even like a VR enjoyer, it's not something that I'm always like itching to grab out of my
anytime someone's doing a product picture of VR though, they're wearing that B Haptics vest because it looks official.
I've done it too, and like I've literally, like, you know, I've had a couple of like promo pics because I was trying to do it, and I'm like, all right, I should probably throw on the B Haptics vest because people like to see that. And you know, I do use it on stream every now and then. I want to implement it more because like I can at least do like stream integrations with it, which is a fun part for I think like other people too. But yeah, it's sometimes it's tough for me to grab it.
So I got a question. So I've never experienced the B Haptics. So is it more of just a rumble, or is it like an actual hit, like a thing that's punching you essentially, like a small motor back and forth?
So yeah, imagine a bunch of, so there's 20 on the front and 20 on the back, right? And they're just like little like those plastic balls, basically. They're not even spinners, but they just rumble, like just like a little rumble pack. Imagine, you know, from your N64 controller, and you just got, you know, 40 of them around your body.
Is there enough pressure, do you think?
You can, it goes up like, well, it's funny that the software does this. You can crank it up to 400%, which I could argue that you should just have it 0 to 100 and then the intensity goes, you know, whatever. But I get it. Like, you know, 400 is like if you really want to feel the full effect of it. I mean, that's what I've had it on since and that's what I've had it on since I got it. Like, it doesn't like shake your pants off or anything like that. It, you know, it's not gonna feel like an earthquake or anything like that. But it, right. And so it's just like a heavy rumble, but sometimes at specific points. That's like the best way to explain it.
Gotcha. So it's not, do you think adding more points would make more of a difference in having a different type of rumble and more points would be better?
Well, yeah, I just don't think a rumble is it when it comes to like body haptics, right?
Yeah.
It can't be a rumble. It's got to be a little bit more pointed. Yes, more would happen, right? But then you're getting into something complicated because like there's already 20 on each side. I'd say like 100 on each side that were pinpoint accurate would probably feel a lot better. But then you're probably dealing with something a lot more expensive versus like what I think OWO is doing, where you can do a little bit more like the stimulation thing. But and I'm curious, maybe I'll hate the OWO vest whenever I try it. But I like that idea of that one better, and I think that's a little bit closer to what I would expect.
So, like, when I think of a haptic like vest, you know, when it comes to senses and actually triggering your actual, you know, you have billions of nerves through your whole body that you could touch. You have pain nerves, you know, little tickle nerves, little, you know, make your gut when you're jumping off a building nerves. You have all these things that they're not tapping into, and you know, that's why I haven't really bought into it yet. Is the whole rumble thing. Like the way that I picture like an actual working a vest would, like, if you ever look at the magnet gel, when you take a magnet and they all trickle up like that, just imagine that all throughout your body, like some way they can match it to where instead of having these little big balls, they make it to like really small balls to where you pinpoint more nerves in just a huge area. If you take that ball and you make it smaller, you're touching so many more nerves. You know, and then like I said, and we can use this as a gateway into the next topic, but if I'm playing an immersive VR game, so like take Onward, since it's so tactical, intense. Like you're not gonna get shot as much. Like you're already like being tactical, hiding. You know, these people actually sprawled on the ground. They're getting on the. You know, they're being nuts with the game. So now if I have this vest on and if I get shot, like I want to almost like drop my arm, like when I'm shooting people, like
you want to play like you're worried about getting shot,
Yeah.
right? Because you don't do that now. Like
No.
who does, right? You know,
No
you
one
can
does.
kind of play careful, but it's a whole different game when you're worried about taking a hit. You know.
Yeah, there's a movie where they actually put shock on them, and I can't remember what it was, but they were running this immersive thing where they had like B-haptic like suit on, and they had these laser guns. So as soon as they got shot, like it, and not only was it like you getting shot by a bullet, it was just like full, you know, like completely like you're not
like
even
a taser,
moving.
yeah.
Like you're on the ground smoking.
Yeah, the one thing I'm picturing with that would be cool with like the OWO vest, it probably can be done, but like so for that new game, Ghost of Tabor, kind of like a Tarkov game, where it's like a survival or something like the forest, where you know you're going to be walking through, maybe you're walking through some trees, and then you walk past a spider web or something, and you actually feel the spider web with that OWO vest, or you lay down like an onward, and you're in the desert, and like you're sniping, being tactical. All of a sudden, you know you got like a beetle walking under your belly, or like you're laying in an ant farm or an ant hill. And then like there's so many more elements you could add to that, and then you start flailing around and shit. And you're not tactical anymore, and fucking die. And then you have the actual all the elements really play a big difference in the game too. But I feel like that'd be cool.
I think that is kind of like the dream. I think we're pretty far. I mean, that would be like metaverse shit, right? If you could feel a beetle crawling on you, like.
Well, I mean, with the OWO vest, they have like they
do like the microstimulants, and
yeah.
You know, I agree. I think the concept of that is really cool. And if they made like a kind of like a longer sleeve version too, you know, something like that, where you just got more of your body involved with it, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, you're pretty much gonna be wearing a green suit at that point.
I do think, and this is probably just purely pulling it subconsciously from like Ready Player One and what you see in that movie, but like I do think part of it too for haptic vests, it would be awesome if they had like a way to show like where anything is happening on the outside, right? Like little LEDs or something that would follow wherever the haptics are. I think as someone who's trying to create content, right, like that just sounds cool. Because then it's like you don't have to have some weird overlay or anything. You can just people can just see like what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
cool.
like in different colors too. Like so, if you're feeling a sense that should tickle or feel good, to be blue. And like if you take a hit, you're starting to see like bullets, like red bullets. You know, that'd be
red,
cool seeing. Like I would definitely be down for that, especially for the content creation. Like I'm not saying like you make that a package only for content creators. You know, like it'd be a little bit more, but then why make an average consumer that's not going to put it on stream? Why give them the ability, for that? But yeah, I would definitely go into a stream just to see where they're actually getting hit by a bullet. You know.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that I don't know, it's crazy how many like different scenarios you can probably run through, and like we never know what it's going to end up looking like. But there is. It kind of proves still how early on I think VR really is, right? Because there's just so much more space, right? There's just so much more uncharted territory out there that is kind of possible. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, they still have that gear coming out where you could smell like flowers and farts and stuff. So
yeah, I saw that.
We still have that fun stuff to come out, and who knows, until it gets to that point where it's like that Black Mirror episode where you just put a little tag on your temple and you go in, and then you're playing, fighting, I don't know if you've seen that episode, but I'm just going to go ahead and leave it right there. But
yeah, it's you never know, and it could get crazy and and it could go too far is the crazy part about it. Like, that's I always kind of like it's easy for me, right? Because I'm kind of like a weird Midwestern mix of like redneck and like techie, so like I still like my outdoor stuff, so it's really easy for me to like go between the virtual reality and the reality, right? And like want to do stuff outside. Like I still like being shut down for a weekend and going camping or something, but yeah, that's always something that'll be interesting. Like I think we're pretty far from like the end of times type shit, but I think that's another thing to look out for, especially with like the types of companies that are picking up VR or like literally leading it. Like you want to be careful with the types of decisions they will go with, because they could have a big effect, right? Like you don't want to I want their sorry, I tend to rant a lot, but like I think that there's there's like something to it about wanting to be careful too with how like all these Quest 2s are going out to kids, right? And I've got some clips from my stream where it's like I'll hop in and I'll play like with like randoms or whatever, and there's like a literal like 6-year-old that can barely form sentences like playing, and it's like we're already to the point where parents are probably just slapping Quest 2s on their kid and like go in a room, right? I don't have to entertain you because you have this endless like VR set. So Yeah, you gotta have the guardrails up at all times.
Yeah,
still.
you got to be casting. I'd be like, if I had some kid that they are, the headset says you have to be 13 years old, but if you're gonna risk it and the kid really wants to be on, like, least monetize it and don't put him in Gorilla Tag. Don't be putting him in anything like VR chat where it gets little.
Oh, God, Gorilla Tag. Keep your kid far away from that shit, man. There's enough of those on there.
But least have it casting to the TV. With the stand up.
Or it's like throwing your kid in like a modern warfare lobby, right? At like 6 years old and giving him like a headset.
I'm prepping
him
for war, okay?
Yeah, it's like that kid's not going to come out the same person after 30 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, it's just...
he's going to be battle scarred already.
Yeah, he's sleeping.
But
he's going to be smoking a cigarette when he walks out of his room, out of his crib or whatever, yeah.
He has PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
You're in the grocery store and someone drops a can and he drops and starts going for...
Right. Yeah, hits the ground.
Yeah.
That's a good point, though, like making it... The kid can only play the VR headset if he casts it to a TV or whatever. Mm-hmm. So at least whoever's in the house knows that, okay,
you just pay attention, right? Like, we all know. Like, I mean, like, games are great. I grew up on games. I let my kid play games. Like, but if I ever do like the VR thing and like, she wants to like, hop in the Quest or something, I make it kind of like an event. Like, okay, well, this night we'll play some games together, right? And do like a family thing. It's like, if your kid's young, just like do it like that and not online, right? Like,
this is your new babysitter. Her name's Pavlov.
You gotta be careful. It's unprecedented, right? Like, you have this whole generation of kids that have VR sets now. It's like fucking, like, I had a Game Boy and like I couldn't be pried away from that shit sometimes. Like, imagine a VR set that's literally attached to your head, and like you can't blame a kid for wanting to stay in that. Yeah, it takes away all the senses, right? And like, you're just in there. Yeah. Which is the beautiful thing about it and the scary thing about it. So
my biggest fear is in the next 5 to 10 years going into an establishment and trying to communicate with these children that are growing up on these VR headsets. They're not going to know how to talk. They're not going to know how to, be themselves unless they're hidden behind this, 2 layers of freaking glass, and a whole bunch of processing power. It's like, and like, who knows what they're going to push, like, real, they already push limits in VR. Like, what if they think, like, they get this matrix effects, and this is a real thing? Like, they get in the real world, and they think they can push boundaries that you're not supposed to. And they're just like, I do it in VR.
Yeah, but that kind of goes back to that same argument that's always been a thing, like Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
You're ripping people's spines out of their back. Someone's going to do that eventually.
Have you ripped out?
Yeah. You're literally blowing fire off in this dude's face. You can't do that in real life. They're going to do it.
I'm waiting for the first lawsuit in VR.
Like, for around what?
There's been so many.
I'm sure there's already been lawsuits.
Yeah, VR chat. Like, if it was gonna happen, it would have happened.
Oh, where they like blame VR for something someone did outside of it?
Yeah.
Oh, there has been.
They did it for the Matrix.
Horizon Worlds. I thought.
Really?
Like, some dude kept like following her around or something, and Horizon Worlds, I thought it was, but yeah, I remember maybe it was just like clickbait, an article, but yeah,
I do think in those scenarios, like, I mean, there's more wrong probably with that person, right? Like, and not in a mean way, but like, they probably needed help at some point, where like, just because they threw out a VR headset, it didn't, it's not the sole reason, because I mean, I think there's an age-old story about like literally I forget where it wasn't US, but there was a guy that some guy talked shit to him in Counter-Strike, and like they for some reason they like knew each other or something, so he knew where to find him, and like he went into like this gaming lobby this guy was playing at and like stabbed him, like like shit like that. It's like, I don't blame the game, it's probably something a little bit more unstable with that person, where if you're willing to just walk in and stab someone, like, it doesn't, that's a hard thing to do.
You were bound to do it eventually, and gaming was your reason to do it.
And if it's not difficult for you to do that, like, there's a problem, right? Like, you should.
I just had a bad joke.
Stopped you from the drive and the walk and then the stab. Like,
you're thinking about this for like a good couple hours.
I have such a bad joke, and I'm debating if I want to say it. Okay, I have to say it. Did he do the flip? Did he do the flip like they do in CS:GO really quick?
Oh, with the knife? Yeah, this was Source Day, so you didn't really have a lot of that, but yeah.
Yeah, as he's walking to the house, he's doing the fucking...
That would probably be a little bit more incriminating that the game was involved, right? If he's doing Counter-Strike tricks while he's, 360 and... Never mind. Yeah, but it's
People are nutty.
Crazy world, man.
Yeah.
Crazy world.
So maybe, VR will help people get the urges, because then they can just go in VR. Because I know, like, definitely playing a first-person shooter in VR is way more stress relieving than it is playing on a pancake game.
Yeah, you get that outlet, right? And it's not like, and that's probably also the dangerous road that where it sounds bad. It's like, but it's not like an outlet of like shooting people. It's an outlet of just playing a game, right? And getting into it and kind of getting in like a certain mindset where everything else shuts off, right? Like, I'm always kind of all over the place. So it's like when I put like a VR set on or I start streaming, it kind of shuts everything else off, right? So I have something to focus on for that time. And I think that's what you get so addicted to, or at least that's what I've, been so addicted to gaming my entire life. So it's just kind of a good way to just have an outlet like that.
Yeah. I have a thought in my head before I want to talk about something else, because I want to talk about beer and headshots as well, and all that fun stuff. And definitely, like, I have questions about beer for you. Little quiz.
Sure.
So, but anyways,
I'm just good at drinking it. But
did you hear about the biggest news that is going all over Twitter today?
What is it? The Cambria thing?
The Cambria thing.
Where
dude.
Facebook accidentally left it.
No, that's why I wanted to ask
you.
A bag. You don't keep an eye on that shit?
Yeah.
So, do you think that was a staged kind of, hey, like, oh, someone just has this, they're putting it all over the internet?
Did they like? So I guess I didn't look at it too much. So no, but again, I you take this as someone who I didn't do my research on it. You know what I mean? Like I looked at a couple articles and saw the pictures and like the video of it, but so my unfiltered opinion that is based off nothing is that they probably staged it, because I just can't imagine a company who's about to drop their next big headset, one that's like on the verge of all of this shit, and like Zuckerberg just said in early October, like look at it, right? Like it's all over the place. Like I don't even go on Twitter, and I saw it somehow on Twitter through like an article, and then I ended up on Twitter and seeing all these other people posting about it. So like that, if that wasn't intentional, that's a big brain move from a very large company who probably has plenty of people who could have planned that out.
Yeah, it looked too sus. Like it was just like, if you really have this giant thing.
Well, who's the guy that found it?
He was a hotel worker. Yeah, exactly. Don't know the guy's identity. He takes it way too like haphazardly. Like he just has his phone walking around. He doesn't say anything. I'm like, if you're a VR fan and you know this is a huge thing that you want to leak,
I'd
you're
be taking
like,
selfies with it. Yeah, be like, I'll sell you the video. Yeah, there we go.
Try a few more things. What else does it come with? Like what? Like the light leaking thing was everybody's concern, and it's like people keep forgetting too that, like, from what at least what I've heard is that the Cambria is meant for like mixed reality and industrial stuff. It's not really for gaming.
Yeah,
you can use it for
productivity
gaming,
set, but yeah.
Are they going to have the same library? Will they have the game library attached to it? I'm sure.
I wouldn't imagine that they would. I mean, I have no idea.
I just heard that it has. I heard that it's just a little bit more beefier. It has more processing power, and then it has the AR capability. But other than that, I mean, I've heard people that play at 144 hertz on Population 1, and they say, playing like with the Oculus, it's 122. It's like there's no difference between that. But now, obviously, when you're playing 90 to 144, huge difference. But it's like, what's the Cambria going to be at? It's got to be maxing out at 122. Do you not think?
I'll be interested. I think that's like the first.
Or is it 120, 122?
Yeah, I think the Cambria. It'll be interesting how well it does, because I think price point's huge, and I've heard some leaks about it. I don't know if it's going to be like super, because it's a little bit higher end, right? So like it's like the first foray, I think, for like a big company to make like a productivity based VR set. Yeah. Right, that's like worth anything. It's not like the phone shit and all that. Like, so this is their attempt now at seeing if like more I don't know, non-gaming, like more professional focused, like productivity focused people are going to buy into this. I'm very curious what their demographic is, because like my grandma is not going to be picking up a Cambria because she wants to do more computer things, right? Like anything like that. So and there's not a lot of younger guys that are going to care if it can barely do more than the Quest 2, like all these other kids. I mean, they're not buying their own headsets anyway, so like their parents aren't going to buy them something that's targeted for productivity. So like, who is it really for? Because I don't see me wanting to do my job in a VR headset. I really don't. I don't want that. Like, I don't want a VR headset attached to my head for that.
It would have to be for me personally. It'd have to be super lightweight and almost like
goggles.
Essentially just like a pair of glasses. And I've been hearing a lot about how they got the processing power from your phone, and then it just projects to your glasses, like low key glasses. I would be down to that. I don't really wear glasses, but I would wear them I could have way more open space, less cables everywhere, and like shut it down.
Dude,
And that's
contacts, man. They're already working on contacts for AR. That shit's gonna be
yes.
nuts. Yeah.
And
I
the
would
way
do
it
that.
works,
Be at work catching Pokemon. I'm down.
Yeah. Just,
Yeah. But
yeah, the contacts from what I've seen are just they're mainly I guess they're focusing on sports now. So like the examples they've shown is the bicycling, and then I could see it with driving too. But
NFL
we're
showing you the
probably a
route.
long ways from
Bloody.
that. Yeah, it's showing. Yeah, like when you're driving the simulation racers, but in real life you have like the little green
Yeah.
bar that turns red as you're okay. You can hit this turn at 60. Like, all right.
well, the AR stuff. I mean, so it's a good sign is always looking at the military, right, for technology. So, I don't know what I forget. It was how many billions of dollars worth of HoloLenses from Microsoft just went to the military, right, so that they could use
Yeah.
it for things. So
It looks
I'm-
sick too.
well, it does, and AR is going to be. I mean, that is like the next big push, I think, for all these next generation headsets. That's what I've been hearing, right? So, I mean, so it makes sense, right? So we've got like VR focus. It's going to be AR focus, and they're all going to have both at the end of the day, right? So I think there's going to be a lot of new augmented reality things that we probably haven't seen or even heard about that are going to probably blow our minds by like later next year.
Yeah.
Because it seems to be a big focus, and I could see that being more of that's like a stepping stone, right? Like I don't ever imagine like AR gaming being something that like it'd probably be fun, right? Like you could say like Pokemon Go could all of a sudden become mobile and AR gaming, right? Where you could just walk around, and then if I have my like glasses on or whatever the hell, you see a Pokemon, you throw at it and you catch it. That could be fun too. But VR I think is going to hold the market for like the gaming, and then AR is going to be a lot more of the productivity, and like you want to have the Minority Report type shit going on where you can, I don't want a full VR headset to see my monitors, but if I could just throw on a pair of glasses or have a contact in and be like, all right, show me my desktop screen.
Yeah.
Right, and do some shit from there. That's a lot more appealing for me as if I was thinking as a non-gamer. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see how that bridges.
I can see though, at least with like XR AR, there could be just one app or something that's mixed reality that kids can start playing at school or something, and that'll just make XR and AR take off like tremendously. Just one really good. It wouldn't even. It can't be gimmicky, obviously, but something that's really just it'll get the ball rolling, because I feel like the youth really starts. Like once something gains popularity, it's because like that like teenage range.
It creates loopholes, right? Like your teacher might not understand the technology when you do, so like you're gonna like what was it? I remember programming, like not programming really, right? You were just downloading, but you could get games on your, what were the calculators called? My like calculus calculator.
Yep. I know you're talking about. Yep.
The Texas Instruments, like your T2 or whatever, like that shit. Like I remember putting like Snake on mine, and thinking that was cool, right? So you can get away with that. But there's a lot, man.
I can just imagine memes already. The ones where, in Hangover where he's thinking he's got all the calculations. And you're just like, you just look over, you have these contacts on, and someone's doing homework, and you just see the calculations coming out of their head. I would die laughing in school if that was going on. But I think that if the next step is with this Cambria is pushing it into a school type of an environment, in a tech type of way, like even maybe in a shop class. I think that's where a lot of people are going, as well as commercial use as well, like teaching someone to do a task like welding that you say, hey, before you can even weld and we waste all the money on materials, let's go ahead and teach you how to do it in VR through the AR system. And then once you feel comfortable that you kind of know, let's touch the real raw material. So, just think of the savings that you're going to put right there as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think I agree 100%, especially because schools are so right. There's military that's like the first to get tech. Schools are usually, unfortunately, some of the last, I think, right? Yep. But that usually is a good sign when like a school starts getting into something like that. Because you're right. I mean, like I think there's a lot of like cost benefits there in terms of not having to do that. And I mean, like we already see what like our like AI software and all that kind of stuff can do, and once you start combining that with AR, like not only like teaching but like coaching, right? So say they're like a football coach, and you got these AR glasses now that can give you stats essentially based off what you're seeing, right?
Yep.
Like I can see exactly how many yards you just ran, and like and previously you did this and all that kind of stuff, and I can bring up what this guy be based off his facial recognition, his typical past stats. There's a lot of crazy, scary but cool things that can happen through all
you could do a pass fail test with military to see like if he's enjoying killing people. It's like you could really
you can find psychopaths pretty quick.
You can find a psychological test really quick, but there's millions of ways that you're seeing with their eyes. You can tell people are lying through their eyes and just their mental capacity of stuff. Like you could definitely put some on.
My Pixel camera can tell my heart rate by looking at me, right? Like so, like you can.
Wait, your what?
Yeah, so that's a feature of like if I go on my Google Fit app, I can have it look at me, and it'll tell me my heart rate.
It doesn't measure it from your hand?
Nope.
What
it looks at
how is that
subtle
possible?
movements in my chest and how I'm breathing, and
is it accurate?
And it's pretty. Yeah, I mean, I actually tested it because I have my heart rate monitor that I use on stream. I mean, I guess it's as accurate as this thing is.
That's terrifying.
And this thing
Crazy.
is fucking attached to my heart. Yeah, and it
I just wear this thing.
Yeah, I'm waiting for like the Pixel Watches to come out, but I mean, like that's crazy. Yeah, from a camera you can see that. So, and just imagine like what else is out there that we just don't, we wouldn't know that you could do that, but I'm sure it's out there, right? Like I'm sure 100%. The military uses it. I'm sure it's all tested and out there. So
yeah, it's just gonna be tech is just gonna get scarier and scarier, and then people are gonna use it for bad things. That's inevitable, But there's always gonna be
how it's been forever.
Yeah. But I definitely think that it's going to – I just hope in some formality that it push, like, us not to spend as much money on, like, taxes and stuff. Like, you give this to, like, a police enforcement, or even just the military. They blow through so many loads of freaking ammunition that cost millions of dollars just right there. But now if you give them an AR simulation where they can – you don't have to have this secret room. You just have them in a dirt path and something pops up through an algorithm – and they can still see it. They're holding a real gun, but it's not a real gun. It's got haptic feedback, so it's got a pistol, so they can actually feel the trigger pull back, but not a real bullet's coming. Maybe they put like maybe nothing. Does it have the haptics? But then the laser points, drop in the target.
Yeah, if they save money though, they're just gonna spend it somewhere else. They're not. We're not getting a tax break.
They're all driving Camaros.
It's all already budgeted out there.
Yeah, gosh dang it.
It's funny because like that, I think that's part of the reason why VR even pulled me in even more is because I'm in the Midwest. I'm in Wisconsin. I own guns, and I've done a little bit of competitive shooting in my time. Like I like trap shooting a lot, and I was actually shortly before COVID hit, I was kind of getting into like 3-gun competitions with a buddy of mine. Like I went through some trial stuff for it. I never actually went through a competition yet, which I would have loved to, but like COVID hit, right? And like ammo prices and all that got crazy. So like VR was also kind of one of my outlets for that because like, I have a range around me that, it only costs me $15 a year for a membership, and it's an outdoor range and it's awesome, but it'll cost me, I think the last time I shot even just like my carry pistol, it's like within a couple hours I spent $100 on ammo, and it's like,
dang.
And that was shooting slow, you know what I mean? I wasn't even fucking around. So like it was, it's, that really sucked. And I mean, like we're still kind of coming down from that ammo stuff, but like VR has, I mean, like it's kind of satisfied niche for me in terms of like competitive shooting and all that. And that's
why have they not made a VR shooting game? Like the old duck, you just see like Duck Hunter or anything like that, like
I was about to say we got
those like VR shooting games, yeah. What I mean?
No, I'm just talking about like real hunting stuff. Like they have bowling, they have darts, they have freaking cornhole, but they don't have clay shooting, they don't have like dove shooting.
They do. They're just not very popular. There's actually for some reason it's like $20 on Steam. There's a trap shooting one because I actually had the same thought, and I'm like, do you know what? I'm like, I'm gonna. My thought was legit to, and this was before I was even using like a gun stock, but my thought was to add weight to some sort of tube, right, to have on my controller, so like and like kind of match it to my shotgun, so that like I could actually kind of feel the weight as I'm trying to hit a pigeon, and it there's like one on Steam for shooting like targets like that, like clay shooting.
I want to go hunt a bear. They
hunting simulator VR.
It seems so easy. Is there one, or are you just saying
hunting simulator?
There's probably not
VR,
a good one.
But I want the ones they have for PlayStation, like the big game hunter, where like you can get on a 4-wheeler, you can you have to like see their prints, you have to track them down. You have bows, rifles. I want that.
I think the problem is like those and that we should, right? I feel like I agree with you. We should have like a full-fledged, like really well done, like hunting game or like range type game where it's just like, I don't know, I guess you have like H3VR for like the range type stuff, but like hunting too, it's like we don't have like a buck hunter in VR, or I think that's the problem, is that it's such a simple concept that and the only people that have jumped on it are the ones trying to make a quick buck, right? And just making a quick game and just making it so that you just sit there and a deer comes across the screen and you're shooting it in VR. But I
don't know if you ever played the King of Hill game.
Oh, I don't know. I have not played that one.
I'll have to send you a video from later, but go on with your talk.
Please do. But yeah, and with VR again, the beauty of it is it could come down to like you want to make sure you walk slow, because if you walk too fast, you're gonna rustle something up and the deer is gonna run,
exactly.
and like make it really accurate. So yeah, I agree. I think we're due for something like the realism type games is really what shines in VR. So.
I mean, if they made Sniper Elite Pro, they which is just they pretty much took that and made it for people to play.
Sniper Elite pissed me off, man.
Did it?
When that came out for VR, I rage quit it on stream, and I'm not like an angry dude these days.
On
like back
stream?
in my well, I didn't quit the stream, just the game. But like and I'm a pretty chill dude these days. Like I mean, like back in my prime with like Counter-Strike stuff, I was probably a little more ragey than I am now. But like, man, like Sniper Elite. So Sniper Elite. Speaking of AAA VR games, right? That's not always it, because like Sniper Elite, and then what else was it? What was the World War Medal of Honor? Thank you. So Medal of Honor, both of those come out, right? AAA companies. Understandably, they only had one VR game. Same thing happened with Hitman. And so like what happened, right? Like they come out and it's like, oh my God, Medal of Honor is getting into VR. This is fucking cool.
Yeah.
And like I hop in and it's one of the biggest pieces of garbage that I've like played for a while. You know what I mean?
I never
like,
bought. I thought about it.
Dude,
yeah.
Well, and the original Medal of Honor was like what, like a 60, 70 gigs? You couldn't even install it on the Quest 2, and it was meant to be native for that. Like at some point, you know what I mean? Like I got a 64 gig Quest 2. Like so that game was just rough, and so was Sniper Elite. And like I think they updated them for a while, like a bit, but like it was like the first few months they were just broken. And then like, okay, so like throw any multiplayer server shit out the window, because if it doesn't survive in the first few months, nobody's going to be online, and yeah, it was rough. That was a rough one. So like I've learned, I think a lot of people have, that like the AAA companies just don't know shit about VR yet. You know what I mean? Like we're still way early on before they understand like really what it takes to make a good VR game.
Yeah, I agree. Go ahead, Olen. Go on.
Like what I was, I guess I was just gonna add to that was, like for example, Veil. If you take somebody will probably use their software as kind of like like an Unreal Engine type of thing, but you can make like just piggyback off that and then add Blade and Sorcery into that. Boom, you have Valorant. Make ice walls and stuff. That would be so much more sick to like hold your SMG in one hand and like you got someone like you're planning the bomb or whatever. You throw up an ice wall with your left hand, or like you throw a fireball over here. Like it's just it's just a matter of people. It's corporate right now. It's corporate and flat screen. Corporate's trying to come into VR. No, like you actually have hard work and dedication and effort you have to put in, and you're not going to make it, as we've seen. So.
As much as I never played it, and I probably had an hour total, but I could see this. The rumored like the Fortnite had like some Oculus stuff. Obviously, and we have Population 1, but considering how successful that was, and it's kind of almost sad to think, because like Fortnite, right? Like our Population 1 was bought by Oculus. If Fortnite gets into VR though, like I don't know if Population 1's gonna survive that.
No,
you know what I mean? Well, because it's just the sheer amount of just all of the Fortnite kids, right? So again, and it's not a bad thing. I think Fortnite's a good game for what it is. It makes sense that people like it. I just the name itself is gonna sell it, right? And you have all these young guys that have like quests and all that now. They're just gonna jump on it, right? And God forbid the Fortnite people. Do you know what I'm gonna call this? And we're gonna save this, or I'll comment in this video. I think if Fortnite gets into VR, they're gonna start selling Quest 2s packaged with Fortnite, like as like it'll be a part of it. Yeah. I think that'll happen.
See, but the thing is that
partnership would be deadly.
It would be, but then they would have to
be squeaky.
They'd have to break ties with Population 1. Like they can't have a package that Meta, Facebook, whatever it was, because Facebook originally is the one that bought them, but they're no longer Facebook anymore. They're just Meta. But so it's like them doing a tied-in package. I think the best thing for them to do right now is to go for the Pika Neo and try and team off of that.
Fortnite, you're saying?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, and that could very well happen. I see Meta, Facebook/Meta, whatever. I see them having no problem axing. They have a bigger name, right? So I think that they would have more access to do this. I see them having no problem like stopping giving a shit for Population One. This was basically their play test until this partnership could have come along, and I'm just spitting out random shit that comes into my head right now. But like, so like if that happens, right, and then they can take a cut off the V-Bucks that you buy through your headset, like it's game over. Like they're gonna
see. And the only thing that I don't like is that as big as Fortnite is, they have a really good community built around it, and they actually seem like they actually care.
It's unstoppable.
And the thing that stinks is like, yeah, they might still not really care about the peons, but they've actually done really good things with the content creators. You know, like it's like Ninja alone, like making him a fan and also building him into the game and making the hype around that for kids that actually watch him. And then with other people as well, with like Dr. Disrespect, exactly. But it's like the one thing that I've noticed with VR games, and this isn't just Population One. I just don't want to say I'm shitting on Population One because it's not. This is other, it's other people as well. But they'll make a game, and like they got purchased by Facebook. And when Population One first came out, I was there when it first came out. I was one of the very first people to play it. They were part of the community.
That, right?
That's where Havoc came from.
Did.
That's what we did.
Yeah.
We got third place in the Invitational on the very first one that really got some really shit from people, and that's when the devs were actually part of it. And then all of a sudden, it's just like they get bought up, bye, gone. Then I tried to get people to come on to this podcast, didn't even look at me, didn't care, don't even speak to like the community anymore. I'm just like, we're still VR. You guys are still like growing. Like, why are you being kind of rude to people that are brought you up? Now you just say, all right, we're big, we got money now, bye.
It's probably not them anymore.
You add like the red tape, right? Like the corporate type stuff. Like I definitely understand that world, and it is sad though, right? And then that's what you lose, right? When we're talking about like the AAA status of games, like I guess Population One out of any VR game could be considered like a AAA, right? They're owned by Oculus, like they're literally owned by the headset, like. It's they're pretty up there, so I think you do kind of lose that aspect of they're going to be doing less for like in general the people that were there when it started and more for like the people that have the money to put into it and like again the content creators that are up there. I guess I don't know, have they done much? There's not really a lot of like high end content creators, but none of them work with Population One on stuff really.
No, the only people that are really trying to actively...
I don't ever see content much on it anymore, I guess.
How much... I can't really say much on who's actually working for them because I really don't want to touch grounds that might have been told in secret. But, but I know there are certain people that are trying to work with them, but it's more... The reason why I can't really bring it up is because it's more contractual than actually just, fair play.
Okay. It'll be interesting how the Fortnite thing, and who knows, it could be a bunch of BS, right? Like who knows, it could be. Did you see the news though? One thing that I'm kind of excited about, I've been kind of waiting for this. So I'm in the VR2Mod Discord, right? So it's like the guys that like kind of are behind like the Half-Life 2 mod and all this other stuff and like Resident Evil ones. They just announced, what was it here? Let me find it super quick. They just announced that they have a what did they call it? Of course I have 5,000 Discord servers. So there's so they call it the Universal Unreal Engine VR Injector mod. And what this means is pretty much out of the rip, if you're made with Unreal Engine 4 or 5 and not VR, it can give you 6 degrees of freedom movement, synced eyes, right? So you get the two like views, so that it looks like you're in VR, detached weapons, all that kind of stuff. So they have a list of games that they posted that they've been thinking that this could work for, and like it's tons. It's like hundreds of games. So like once this comes out, you could get as all of these other games that are built with Unreal Engine 4 and 5 that weren't VR in VR, and one of them is like Ready or Not. And I think that game in particular, like with the intensity and all that kind of stuff, if you guys have ever touched Ready or Not, that game is going to be amazing for VR if we can get into that.
The only thing I guess I have an opposition to it is like watching how like you'll play native VR games and like you can tailor like the experience is tailored because they want you to be interactive, whereas like watching you play Resident Evil 7 was pretty cool, but like you can still see like that immersion that you get pulled away from. Like it puts that wall back up there and then you're back to like, oh, this is really just a flat screen game.
I agree. I hate half measures in VR. Like, so in Resident Evil, like it was still a fun experience, and I think I was kind of carrying myself, I think, with like the hype of like I purposely like I saw it in PlayStation VR. I didn't have that. It looked great. I didn't want to play it on PC until I could play it on VR, so I waited for the mod. So I kind of like let some of it go. But yeah, I've typically, and you've probably seen it through my streams, like I've typically only played games that like end up with like kind of full on like VR capability, I don't like something reloading for me. It's like I'm in VR because I want to be doing the shit, you know. So like if I hit a button, and I think Larcenauts had this problem right away, right? Well, besides like not even working on index, I think out of the rip.
No comment.
Yeah. Oh, we're okay. Sorry. So I might talk some shit on Larcenauts. I never bought. Well, actually, I did buy it. Day one, I tried to load it up, I think, because I was gonna see if I could stream it, and then it didn't work for index, and I was like, I'm out. And then like I think they didn't even have like a natural reload option right away, right? Like they added it later on.
And you ran like this. The game was made for console, and they lied to it this day. You know, allegedly, you know, because I know people that, you know, dig into, you know, if you have anything that's built in Unity, it's pretty easy to get into your files. The game was 100% built for console.
And they were probably
allegedly,
like, this is not going to sell at all
allegedly.
until we move it
I
to
keep
VR.
using that word allegedly. I didn't really know. Someone just told me this. But
it could have been a test too. Like, will people even want to have to reload all their shit? Yes, of course we do. We want to rack our weapons.
And some people like the more arcadey feel, right? But like I got a key for Alvo, which I didn't mind as a game, but like I mean, again, the reload system just wasn't natural.
Didn't
right?
like it. Right off the bat, I didn't like it.
Yeah, I just want to be able to reload and do the things. You know, I want to charge my gun and all that. I want to. If I forget to do that, that's on me, right? Like I don't want to have some robot doing it for me because I want to be able to make mistakes and learn from them. You know,
exactly.
Part of the fun.
Yeah, there's a Scott. I wonder if it's the same Scott that I know. But he says I need to give jBahr a key. Didn't say what game, but I think it's the Scott that.
What, his house or what?
Yeah, key to his fridge to get some.
What's
beer.
up, Scott? What are we doing here? What game is this for?
You know, I don't know the last name. It looks familiar. But if it's a Scott that I know, then it's the person who is part of Ghost of Tabor, Scott.
Oh well, Scott. Wait, he might have been the one that reached out to me. Oh, I don't know if I don't think he didn't tell me I can't say that. Yeah, is he the CEO guy behind it?
Yeah, he's the one that does VREL, and then he also.
Yeah, we were gonna.
I believe that's him. There's so many Scotts. He didn't say the game, but I believe it's a Scott that I
thought Ghost of Tabor wasn't even ready to go for like alpha yet.
It's an alpha.
It is alpha.
It is an alpha.
For PC
oh shit! Send me a key, Scott. And, send me that key, buddy.
Hey, send me one too. Shoot.
No, just send it to me. If you only got one, send it to me.
Well, I do want to like some hyper. So
timeless.
If no one hasn't seen the podcast with him, you know, he's a guy that I had for VREL and for Ghost of Tabor.
I caught a little bit of that one. I think that was one of the first ones I watched with you.
Yeah, and so he's a very fun person to have on, and really like in tune for VR and the things that he has for Ghost of Tabor. Like I'm not even joking, and this isn't just because I'm friends with. I hope it's the same Scott. If this is some other Scott for some other game I test, I'm gonna feel really bad. But let's just say it is. But Ghost of Tabor, anyways, in my opinion, is probably going to be the biggest game of 2023. And that's, you people can come back to this, and if it's dog shit, you know, whatever. Mark this down, but I'm giving it the best game of 2023.
If Scott's still listening, Scott, don't take any of this bad. I just tend to be very honest about things. So yes, I'm actually super excited to know that the alpha's out because I want to play it and try it. And this isn't a bad thing, but I think like the Tarkov type game style is perfect for VR. Mm-hmm. So if they do it really well, it's going to be amazing, right? Like it's going to be amazing. But like, I do feel like people are going to have that impression that it is the Tarkov of VR. And I think they've already been doing this. I actually hopped in their Discord a couple of times and they were doing talks and it is the same Scott. Hi, Scott. So, and it does sound like they're going the right direction. I think from their trailers though, I just haven't been able to see what the game is like yet. Right. Like, which is fine. I think they're still like, they're not doing it until like late after mid next year. I don't think they're releasing, right? Like that's
the last trailer they showed though, they give you little snippets of like what to expect. You have like, okay, you can, if you played games, you can figure out, okay, you got like your body health, you've got like your stamina and things like that.
And I have no expectation currently for the game. I just think, you know, and even same with Veil, right? Like I think Veil's great. There's just some jank with it, right? That they're still working on because it's still kind of alpha or whatever. But I think Ghost of Tabor is going to be amazing if it does turn out the way that it's framed. And I think that it's going to be, I agree with you. I think it's going to be one of the top games.
What I was curious about was I think he might have mentioned Damage X, right? It was his like username. They were talking about it being an esport, for being an esport. Correct. And for Ghost of Tabor, and that was something that kind of confused me. I wasn't sure how that would translate.
So
I think they're going.
Go ahead.
I heard Hunt Showdown, right? Like that's something they're also kind of modeled
I
off of.
love that game. By the way,
I remember
so sick.
listening to a couple of the talks with Scott, or I think his team, and I think they've mentioned Hunt Showdown quite a few times outside of Tarkov. So I think that's where they're trying to implement a little bit more of competitive stuff. But I've never played Hunt Showdown. So
Yeah, Hunt Showdown is. I think I've told you to play that too.
I think
but
you
like,
have.
It's very intense. Like it's all based on audio cues. It's just very quiet and slow. The metal will change sometimes, and you'll get into a few lobbies in a row where everybody's just running gun loud. But it's dynamic. Like that's the beauty of it. You can have so many different scenarios because you can have everybody just going hard and intense and in your face, and you pretty much have to go that way too because like they'll just rush you and you're screwed.
Yeah, so like that mixed with like a Tarkov series. I mean, I agree. I do think they have the formula here, right? Because like VR, I mean, that's why horror games are such a good medium in VR. Is like you get that intensity or that suspense or that anxiety that you can feel when you're more physically in something than if you're just at your computer, right? Like I'm really good with horror stuff. Like I grew up on it. It normally doesn't scare me. Like a jump scare will get me every now and then, but you can still get those moments in VR that I don't get playing a flat screen game where like if something's going to happen, like I know because I stream with it on, but like I can see what my heart rate rises, right? And like I kind of sit there and I can tell like I'm having a reaction to it, something physical. And Tarkov kind of does that, right? Because you're always you always end up in like pretty much every situation's a clutch situation.
Yes.
Kind of, right? So that feeling translated properly into VR could be just next level, right? Like, I mean, like we don't have that for like a shooter yet. Like you have like Into the Radius that's, still solo though, right? Like you're not worried. I'm less worried about like computer AIs than I am about like the little Timmy 10-year-old that's been in VR for the last like 90 some hours straight, right? And that's been grinding this game out since it came out. Like I'm more scared of that kid than I am of like a bot in VR. So
how do you see a treadmill being do you see it being beneficial, or do you just see it kind of like with Pavlov where it's a little bit of detriment and then it still adds?
Dude, I think in this game it's going to be the best content ever especially for Tarkov.
So, I don't disagree because I think it, like we talked about earlier with like the vests and like if you actually had, if you felt more of an impact, like say when you got shot in a game, you play a little safer. I tend to do that as well with the treadmill. It's if I go aggressive, for me, in a lot of scenarios, that means I have to run a certain amount of distance to really rush this. So do I want to do that, or do I want to play to like maybe later in the round I'm gonna need that energy, right?
Yeah.
So like you honestly, and like I've gotten better over time. This is where I really love like what I'm doing with the treadmill. I wouldn't use it if I didn't like it, and I love the fact that like I can see, I can tell, and I've heard it from friends or my girlfriend or whatever, like there's just a difference between like my level of like endurance. I know it sounds like I heard it from my girlfriend.
Oh yeah. That one slipped past my head. Darn it.
But sorry, I probably shouldn't. I could have just skipped right past it. So like, a year and a half ago, I started using the original treadmill, and the amount of exhausted and sweaty I felt after an hour is just so uncomparable to how I feel now, where I can stream for like 2-3 hours, and sure, like my heart rate goes up, I'm sweating a bit, but I feel better. So like, I've said this on stream before, but it's like it's such a cheesy way to say it, but like, I love the idea of like you're kind of like leveling up your body in a way, right? By like working out while playing a game. That's the dream. That's VR esports, dude. Like that's why I get stoked about VR because it brings the physicality and the mental capacity you need for games. Like it merges the two. It's like you're playing chess but with your body, in way more intense scenarios too. And that's why, that's why.
One of my biggest conversations that I had when they had a group discussion for Vale is during the tournament, will they make people turn off the automatic dip down? Because right now you hit a button and you're crouching.
I feel like if they were going to do that, they would have announced that already, right?
They already said they're not going to. They said it's an option in the game.
Oh, they're going to leave it on?
It's a feature, and they said maybe down the road they might make something that's a little more hardcore. It's
for the people who aren't physically capable.
It's an inclusivity thing, I think.
Yeah,
too. Yeah, you're right.
It makes sense, but it's kind of rough.
I see. So we haven't gotten into this yet. If you guys are cool with it, we should talk about like the physicality of esports VR, right?
Dude, I'm down. Like We're jiving. This ain't boring or anything. We can just jive as long as you want. I'll at least let us go. At least.
Well, if you've met me, man, I can literally talk forever.
I mean, as long as Olen's good, I'm good to go, man.
Oh, I'm good. I got nowhere to be.
Scott says waiting on my new Cat C2 to arrive.
Oh, Scott picked up a C2, huh? That's awesome, man. I feel like, and I'll take credit. Like I've been the bad influence on quite a few people. Like, I've had a referral link through Cat, but it doesn't work. I don't think it works for the C2 yet. But like, I had one for the old one, and I've made through that referral link like 5 or 6 sales of treadmills. Plus, there's I think like a handful of more. I think it's been over 10 treadmills I've sold for them, which is awesome.
Ooh,
right? Like
that's 15 grand or so.
Yeah, it's not little. it's not a little amount. And I get a little commission, which is nice. But like, I think that's a really cool thing to me. Like it makes me feel good in a way, and I'm definitely patting my own back right now. But it makes me feel good that I've introduced enough people to this, because the one thing I've said, and I'm not shitting on any other streamers out there or content creators, whatever, is I'm just surprised I'm the only one who uses mine all the time. Like I've seen people review them, like the original one and stuff, and it's like you've never seen them touch it again.
Dude,
yeah. It's like, what are you doing with that? It's so cool. It's like, just use it
all the time. Yeah. I'd be shredded. I'd be back in my college days.
Yeah,
I say it's the barrier between getting from you not playing to playing. It's the extra step where people, I guess, are too used to being able to just go sit down and just immediately click and play. Well, whereas this, okay, you got to put the shoes on, you got to put the strap on, and then get the softwares developed, or not developed, but running. But like, that's like the cost benefit analysis. Like, you're going to spend 2 minutes and then have it 1,000 times more fun, but it's also the space. Take space
in a pun type of way. It actually, like, I agree. I think it takes many steps. I think the first part is trying it, but my opinion a VR treadmill has got to be one of the hardest things, like mentally, and like, to actually sell to people, because you can't really try it, right? You can go some places and try it. Not the one I'm using. You can use like the Virtuix one, which that's a whole nother ordeal. And then you can, you just trying something like that once is always going to feel wrong, right? You don't know how to use it. You're just stumbling around on it. If you try it once when you're at a VR arcade, like once a year, you're never going to get a feel for it. Like, I took a leap. Like, when I bought the original Catwalk, I had seen it on Kickstarter. I was too nervous to buy it then. It's not a little bit of money for me. It's that was a good chunk of change. And I waited until like, I was just like, okay, I'm going to do this. And like, when I bought it, I wasn't even thinking about content at the time. I was just like, okay, am I going to regret spending this? But I'm super happy that I fell in love with it, because like, it is a leap. Like, it's not cheap, and people just, you got to like use it for a while in order to feel right on it. You know what I mean? So it's like,
I just did a TikTok video about the gun stock thing too. I was like, it's like first time users, literally everybody. And I've obviously let people demo it a lot. And it's that first offhand, you're going to try 1,000 times, then look under your nose to find the magnet, to find where to place it. And it's like,
I didn't have a problem finding your magnet. I know where you're getting at. Like, that was,
it's like, because obviously you're probably more coordinated, and your experience with VR, so where you can pick it up. But like, if you got a semi new VR player, they've had it for a month, and they're just now looking at accessories. But yeah, like all my family too, a lot of my friends, it's all the same thing. I thought they'd pick it up because they're heavy in sports.
Yeah.
No, they look like babies, like just born babies.
It's not easy, right? And like, and it's just weird, like, and you feel weird because like, it's super hard to look cool in VR outside of it, right?
Yeah,
you feel a lot cooler than you look.
Yeah,
and like, and like, I like what I've always, the comment I've gotten on TikTok sometimes, which is why it sticks in my head, is like, I just look like I'm in an adult baby walker, right? But it's like fun, right? Yeah. And you just gotta kind of put yourself in the actual shoes and try it out,
Dude,
but yeah, it's hard to convince people to use.
I've been sitting here trying to listen to your guys' conversations, and Scott had that loaded question right there about the strap. I'm just like, what am I taking with this?
So the only thing, I guess the only thing that's held me back from putting myself in more debt is the walking aspect of it. Because I just feel like, yes, like the thought of being able to walk infinitely in games sounds phenomenal, and that's how you really get lost in your game. But just the way it walks, like you're saying, it feels awkward. So I would assume though that you're just totally. Do you ever find yourself stepping off the treadmill and then like trying to slide on the floor?
So yeah, people ask that because people are like, oh, I got a big stride or whatever, and I'm not like super tall or anything, right? Like I'm 6'11", but like I've tried, like, if you'd have to really try to like step off the thing, like you really would. You'd have to like really do like a very unnaturally long stride, and that's because it's a bowl, right? Like it's kind of got like a curve to it. Concave, I think, is like the term, right? I don't know, but yeah. So it's got like this bowl aspect to it. So it kind of is supposed to give you a natural gait, as in if you just walk and you drop your foot like you naturally would, it's gonna slide it down for you, and it kind of just helps you out a little bit, right? And you kind of get that going. I agree with people when they say, well, it's never gonna feel natural. It's not, right? Like you're still attached to something to your waist, but the more I've used it, like the less I feel unnatural with it while I'm in game and like doing things, right? Like you get that it's enough immersion.
Natural, you know, if you want to feel natural, go run in real life. Like you're playing a game at the end of the day, you know.
Exactly.
I don't think for years are we ever going to get fully immersive, you know, unless someone comes out with some crazy. Exactly. Like you have to.
If you're anchored, you're always going to feel off.
But and it's not only that, but we also have to figure out in our brains what's real and what's not. Because once we started thinking what's real, like what's not real, but it's real, and all that stuff, then we might as well just be in a simulation. It's like, wake up, you know, get out of the Matrix right now, dude. It's like, wake up.
Yeah, I mean, but like, why can't you just literally have a flat plane, but like a 6x6 flat plane, where unless you literally try to do a lunge, you're gonna just slide, super slippery.
So
I guess it just be too.
What I need you to do?
Yeah, like imagine an ice rink. That's what you're describing.
Essentially, why not just a giant ice block? Put some optics on it.
So like they can do
playing hockey without skates, man.
Like they can do a 360 rotating treadmill, but at the end of the day, it's like what they did. If you have never been, I don't know if any of you guys like work out or do like CrossFit or anything like that, but their treadmills are a bowl. And if you look at that, that's actually the most natural way to run. That actually
those are awkward. Those are awkward for me. I felt like
the most natural way to run. Like all the pro athletes are using it, and that's pretty much what they did right there. Is they made that kind of.
Yeah, it's less about like thinking about how you normally would run and just dropping your feet, because like that's supposed to kind of give you that. Yeah. Like your legs, the more natural feel of it. It is weird, and I think it's like a similar effect that you get from like the treadmill like this, is that you kind of just it is almost learning a new way to walk, right? It's like learning to ride a bike in a way, and then once you kind of got it down, it's like I feel like I could be off of this thing for a month or two and go back and be right back at it. So
do you think less concave would be beneficial, or do you think it's
right? There is someone who's made that actually. It's called Silver Cord. God. They're either Finnish.
Is it the one where the flat plane like goes up and down and it's high up?
So there's that, but like I just don't you can't have anything where you're not anchored, right? Like that one still even has like a waist harness. Like the only thing I could think of is like some crazy type of like almost like bungee type system. But like again, if I think of that, what I imagine is probably so unrealistic, or I'm not, you know, I'm not smart in that kind of way, so.
Like that people you made a video on. Like
that's right.
Go check it out, by the way, everybody. Check out Beer and Headshots YouTube channel. He does a really good.
You're talking about Virtuix?
Yeah, your interview with him. That was honestly really interesting. That was my two favorite videos where you first did like, hey, you know, this treadmill that looks dope, and it's like not revolutionary, but it's like a better concept. And then the freaking CEO.
The first one people saw. That was actually a lot of fun. And unexpected. I would love at some point to do more of that when I have time. But that was a lot of fun. Well, I don't know. We still haven't seen anything about their new treadmill, so I've been waiting. And I've even emailed the guy a few times, and it's just they don't have any info. So
you know what's funny is with guns. So I'm obviously in the gun stock market, and I keep an eye out on whoever's doing what. And Striker VR, they're known for having kind of commercial grade guns. So like, you don't really have controllers; it's just a full gun, and you got some buttons, and it's mainly meant for like that Far Cry game you might have heard of, or you go to an event, put on the suit, they give you the gun. Those company, like that's another company in like the industrial space where they announced that they were going to make a consumer grade gun stock for VR.
I saw that.
Yeah, and then nothing came of it. It was supposed to be like July or August of this year. And then it sounds like those kind of companies are just going to keep centered on like the events and industrial, like the larger commercial.
Because the game's got to be built for them, right? Yeah. Like I mean, like if you're going to have like a very like a solid, because I think what you're talking about, right, is it looked like a futuristic solid, just like full piece of stock. It's got to work for the games, and like this is the problem. We won't get too into this because this will be another like 2-hour-long conversation.
Yeah, we still got to get to the esports section here.
That's right. We'll move right into that after this. But yeah, so when I was talking with Jan. The like the Omni, the problem that I have with that system is they're trying to sell not only a full all-in-one treadmill, but also like a marketplace for that with their own developed games. So you not only have this high end hardware, right? That's got already a cap to it almost, or not a cap, but like a financial problem with it, right? Like not everybody out there, like not everyone's buying their kid an Omni One for, I think they said it's probably going to be about $2,000 to $2,500, and that will include the headset and everything, right? And the treadmill, but then you still have to pay a monthly fee for the online access to their games, and then you pay for their games separately.
Yeah,
so
that's just commercial.
Well,
but they have stuff you can go to, right?
What do you mean?
The Omni stuff, don't they have actual?
Oh, they have arenas. Yes.
Okay, yeah.
That's where they currently make their money, is like these Omni arenas, which seem, and I think that's the market probably for them. I don't see a market working where you're trying to sell a treadmill that only ideally works with your games, right? And then, but like, why would I pay for online access to your game?
Because the money that's in the tournaments.
Play it.
So like Pesky Cashew, he goes and plays with a team at in his local area. And, I don't know if you know who Pesky Cashew is, but
I've heard of
yeah, so he goes around and just, like, finds these, like, tournaments and just tries to make the money out of it. Well, he goes to something like that, I believe it's Omni, and I think with the online services, especially, like, people that are into that niche, might buy it specifically to go for that money.
I could see that. I don't see that being sustainable, though. Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's going to be the same people that are local to that just constantly, which is good for them. But if it's unheard of games, it's like, right, like they're just good VR players that are keep going to this arcade and stomping people.
Yeah.
I mean, that is an interim, I think, to like the bigger events for the bigger games, and like that stuff I think will fade away. Not in a, like I don't mean that in a bad way, but right, like, and it's good that they're making money off of it, but like, yeah, that like local VR arcade stuff is great for like one-time experiences, but the last thing I want to do is go with a few buddies to a VR arcade just to go against these guys in like jerseys that show up together every night.
It's like going to paintball with a couple of buddies and you see these people just decked out and they have fast reloading while they're shooting at you.
Yep. Speedball, man. I like the idea of it. I think it's cool that people are making money off that too, but like that's not the right market for a VR arcade long term, in my opinion. Right? It's like, it's just that stuff doesn't last.
Yeah, unless they found a way, because that headset's only for their games, right?
Well, so well, this is another mystery, but like we don't know what headset they're going to work with.
Yeah.
So, but the headset, I think they mentioned that there'd be a mode where you can play like PC gaming on it. Right, or if it's a Quest, I don't know if it would work with that.
No, it would have to be like an Index.
Yeah. He said no, right? He said like that wasn't their plan to not do any type of PC VR.
I think it'll be an option, but it's not their primary option. I don't know what that means. So I don't know if that's accessible right away or what. But like it's been hard
they want
to get,
sell. They're like, no, we want you to buy our
to get
stuff
info
first.
on that.
I mean, the best thing to do.
Esports. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, we'll go to but the whole entire thing.
Good segue.
just to end this conversation, and feel free to pinpoint onto before we go to the esports thing. But I highly recommend people that are like doing these treadmills, like the one that you're using, is right now, like as we speak, like the Quest is building stores to have the next 5 headsets in these stores ready to go for people to go in like an Apple store and try them all out. Why not get in with Quest right now? Like, hey, let me put 2 of my treadmills in your store, so when people try out this, they can also try out the headset and work along with each other. So that's the way I wanted to end it. It's like, it's an idea.
It's a no-brainer.
It would be cool, but Meta would be putting together their own VR treadmill before they worked with anyone else for a store, guaranteed.
They'll buy them up first.
I'm just saying, you don't see like you don't go to like a Windows store or Mac store, right, and see like all that other shit. Like someone else's. Whatever.
That's
so
what
like,
they're trying to do.
I think they are trying to they're just like they're all big companies, so I think they are definitely they want to stay proprietary. They want you to be in their ecosystem. They don't give a shit about other stuff. That's just maybe my pessimistic opinion on it, but I think that would be awesome. But it also is a pipe dream.
This port right here tells you you're right.
Yeah,
this port that works with nothing else.
Till next year. Till next year.
There you go. Yeah, I don't know. Do you want me just to rant for a second about the VR like LAN type stuff?
You go ahead.
Rant away.
I'll take a drink breaks if you guys want to throw stuff out there. So I've just thought about this stuff a lot. So
go ahead. You have the time.
Like I said before, I'm an old school Counter-Strike guy. So like the history of it in a very brief fashion is, I played Counter-Strike since I was probably super annoying kid, right? Like my oldest brother had it when he was in college, and I was, he had it when it was a mod for Half-Life, and I would play it on his computer every now and then eventually I played it. And I built a PC. I was PC master race early on, and the first league competitive game I played was Call of Duty 2. Actually, I played like one season of that as like probably like a 11-year-old and like playing Call of Duty 2, like when it came out on PC, right? Like there was stuff for it. And then it's like I got more into Counter-Strike, and like it just kind of took off from there. And Source was what I was actually really into. Like I played a bit of 1.6, but never competitively, and I played Source competitively. And that was like the first time. And like the first time I played, I made my own teams. Like it was, and we got stomped in like it was a Cal League way back in the day. I don't know if you guys were ever into Counter-Strike back then, but and it was just a learning experience. But I was so into the game. Like we ended up in pro leagues. I ended up making a team that did really well. And then after that team was dead, like I joined another team that was in like a CEVO professional league. Like literally a year outside of high school. So the year between high school and then me eventually deciding it was probably better to go to college than to put all my chips into being a professional gamer. I literally just played Counter-Strike, and I made money doing that. I didn't live at home anymore. I just made a bit, like basically enough money where it was probably coming out to like minimum wage, but with like CEO level hours. You know what I mean? Because like you're just gaming for like 12 hours a day. And like I was like watching like videos from the teams that we had to play and all that kind of stuff. And what this is all coming down to is, we got into it enough where we would go to LAN parties, right? So like and not just LAN like LAN events, like big Counter-Strike events where some guys that we would play against were how do I say? So there was like an old thing called CGS, which was like Championship Gaming Series, and like Europe was where it was still a lot more popular than in North America. But some of these guys that played over there played CGS stuff and were kind of like on the higher level, like the top tier type of teams. We're playing at some of these LAN events, and like so I got to meet them, I got to play against them, and it was a lot of fun. And there was a couple times where we did better than them, and I was some of the best memories I have from like going to those big LAN events is a couple of things. One is they don't do this anymore, probably because it's too toxic, but one is you would have the computers you're playing on straight across from the other team, especially usually once you got in the playoffs. It kind of depends on the tournament. Oh, man. Right. But like once you got to like quarterfinals type of deal, like the final part of it, you would play 5-5. And that was the most beautiful toxic environment. It was amazing. Like as someone who grew up in that, amazing. So like, because you could hit you could do really good play, right, and just stand up and start laying into the guy across from you for no fucking he didn't even have to be a part of that play. You could have just been like you're my target, dude, because you're right here, like, and you're on the other team, so I'm gonna shit on you. But like that stuff was just the amount of adrenaline and just intensity you felt was so amazing. And then when you got into those positions, so like I specifically remember, and it was like a map, like we were playing like Nuke, and I think we ended up losing. We got like third place against a team that had a lot of people that were in these bigger CGS leagues at some point. And like so this is probably also what helped spark me to want to like stream and stuff, right? Because you get this feeling. But like I remember playing, and like we finished a round or whatever, like, and I got a couple kills or whatever, and then I didn't notice it until I turned around and there was like 50 people standing behind us in a crowd, right? Fucking craziest feeling you can have when you're just playing a game, right? Like, because it starts off with you just playing, so like you have all these people standing behind you, and then now it's like you realize, and then it's like that feeling hits you, and then it's like it's really pressure. You know what I mean? And like and those are the moments where I've really felt alive. Like, and that sounds depressing, but like those are the moments that you just feel alive. You know what I mean? Like, you just get all of this is going on, right? Because you're already in the zone, and then it's like I'm even more dug in now, and
like, I'm actually like doing good because people are watching me.
Well, and playing like that, you're just all jacked up, and it's like you've got people watching you, and they're either cheering or booing or whatever the hell they're doing, but like that feels good. So like in my mind, I imagine like VR esports kind of bringing that back for me, right? Like and it's selfish, right? Because I'm thinking about me here, but like even watching it, and I'm probably too old to even be a part of it or to get good enough to be a part of it, right? But like I could just imagine like the 5 people on the stage kind of across from each other. Obviously there's gonna have to be space and stuff for VR, but like if you make a really good play in VR or whatever, and you can just take off your headset and start just laying into the fuckers across from you, that's got to be a good feeling, man. And it's got to be like you're just adding a whole nother dimension, I think, to that entire aspect, right? Mm-hmm. And I think we're coming to a very important part of VR where we're getting like the Deckard's going to come out, right? And I don't think the Cambria is going to be targeted towards this, but it's probably gonna be somewhat capable, but we're gonna get the I think Lenovo Legion's coming out with one, right? And then there's all these other one.
Yeah.
But you get these crazy standalone capable headsets, and you can, that makes it just that much more portable, and these events much more easier to have, right? So like, if I could have a standalone headset, and then it's like, all right, well, us 5 are meeting you 5 in the fucking park, all right, for like a local VR match, right?
You just need decent lighting. I mean? Decent lighting, and then you can light up the whole like basketball court.
It just makes it all all you need is a warehouse, right? Like you don't need a giant stage. You can do a warehouse with chairs. I don't know. I just think that there's a lot that
I tried that.
Oh well, yeah.
There was
in the wrong place.
Yeah, I did wrong place, wrong time. Back in I used to live in Southern California, and there was a whole gym where it was an indoor gym, basketball court, and then across the basketball court was just a giant like mini football field. And I was like, this is perfect. This is where we can do it. Put everything out. I didn't know anybody at the time, really. I didn't have any connections. I was pretty much the only one I knew, like, locally that played VR. Mm-hmm. And I probably should have known that was, like, my indicator of, like, you're not going to have anybody show up for the most part. But, like, I want that same thing. Even watching. Not even, like, the past 2 Sundays, watching first Homeland last Sunday and then Havoc this Sunday in IVRO was freaking dope. It was cool, again, to just... You even as a viewer, you feel that energy start because you get hyped because you want them to win, and the close games is what's fun, not blowouts. Freaking, I want to see a game.
I was slightly disappointed. Like, I don't know, I hyped myself up too much, I think, but I remember when I was like, holy shit, like VR competitive is like can be a thing. Like that's kind of cool. Like way back when I was really just kind of figuring this stuff out, and seeing some of the videos of like the ESL LAN tournament that they had for Onward. Was awesome. I was like, oh my god, this looks sweet. And then realizing that was like a one-time thing.
Meta or Oculus or what was it? Facebook paid for it or Oculus did, and that was the only reason why.
Yeah, so I thought that like that was like, oh shit, and then I was like kind of like, oh, okay, we're not that far yet, because I thought I'm like, oh shit, they already have like these ESLs already into like VR leagues and stuff, and sad that it was a one-time thing, but it was kind of a good like crystal ball peek into like what could be out there, and again, less encumbered, right? So like when if I don't have to bring a computer and I can just walk up to you with my headset and like say it's game on, like that's
time to duel,
right? And like that, and that's when Olen, you got to start making you got to start making stacks where you can just like flick it and then it comes out, and then you can like attach your controllers to it.
It's where the AR comes in. You actually see your Yu-Gi-Oh card come up out of the ground.
All right, I'm gonna show the bottom part. This is like the first. Just a little sneak peek of something that's going to be literally like that. It's going to be pretty damn sick. And nice. I'll show you guys later on.
I think what we were moving towards as well, Greltsky. I think you were kind of. I think this is what I heard you talk about in your podcast with Olen here. We talked about this kind of in Vail, right, with like the crouching thing. I think that future state of VR, the way that I could see this working out is there would be almost 2 versions of like the way that you'd play, right? There'd be like the more physical one versus like the less physical one. We'll just,
they would have to tailor. They'd have to have a league for the one thing before you watch before you pinpoint on that is like they would have to have certain abilities for people that are disabled that can't walk, stuff in wheelchairs and stuff like that. But you'd have to understand that you have to be physically capable because it's a physically VR game. It's like knowing that you're not going to have that crouch button. Obviously you're going to have that acceptance into it. But yeah, go ahead with that. I just want to make sure we clarified that I don't think nothing against someone that cannot walk, but what would you have to do to say, hey, you just can't play in this because you have to be physically capable?
Well, no, you can't, and you can't be. Yeah, like I 100% agree. It's like you're never gonna appease everybody, right? At the end of the day, it's still a sport in some effect, right? So like, there's still the sport rules apply, right?
Yeah.
Like, especially when you're getting closer to being a more physical sport than an esport, right? But it's just a mix. So like you're adding those elements, right? Like I mean, like if you could always go, PC gaming is a lot more inclusive than VR gaming physically is going to be, right? Just in general from the rip, because like some people, get motion sickness super easily.
Yeah.
There's no way to like stop that. They either figure it out or you don't, I guess, kind of that respect. But I would love to see VR esport leagues that take it to that level where you have to be running, right? You have to be, you've obviously physically crouching.
Speaking of crouching, by the way, we got Dimwis. He redeemed 5 for you, jBahr. So
I'm kind of off the clock, Dim. Right? I'm kind of like, what is it, 9:47? Yeah. Hi, Dim. It's good to see him.
But like the thing is that when you want to look at pancake gaming against VR gaming. And don't worry, someone wanted you to do this whole podcast on your treadmill, so that was also a request.
Yeah,
but anyways,
I just ignore him.
So when you're looking at pancake gaming and VR gaming, if you want to make VR watchable and be exclusive to the actual people coming out and seeing it, and almost making it a sport, because for a while, like, we got word to start calling ourselves a VR sports organization and not a VR esports organization, because they're going to start tailoring more towards that sports name, because it's not really electronic sport, because you're physically using every feature of your diving, duck, dodge, whatever the 3 Ds of dodgeball.
Who said that though?
I can't tell you who said that. I'll tell you off screen, but I can't tell you on screen.
I think that's splitting hairs again, and I just throw shit out there, but I think that's splitting hairs, right? Because it is an esport. You're still like, if you have to have a headset on, like, you're still playing an esport, right? You still want to make that, I think, that delineation between a game.
Yeah,
I could see there being more VR sport, or whatever verbiage. When it comes to like the actual there's literally there's Golf Plus leagues coming out on VREL, and I've seen a shit ton of these advertisements. I'm probably mostly on TikTok. I don't know if you guys have, but with there's like a baseball one, right, where you can attach your Quest to a bat, and it's like a paid subscription service. Yeah. So I could see more things like that coming out where people are playing like VR sports, right? There's table tennis and all that kind of stuff too. So. I don't know. I still think like esports when I'm thinking of like Pavlov, right?
100%. Yeah.
Again, it's splitting hairs. Like at the end of the day, I really don't care what it ends up being called, but you can't just like act like it's real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just.
But to continue on to, it's like I think more people would watch a lane event or go to a lane event where people were hooked up to a treadmill. They had haptic vest on. They actually had sensors. And like I said, when it gets really real, like if you get shot, like, you have to sign, like, a little waiver, like, you're gonna be shocked. Like, I'm not saying hard, like, you're gonna feel like you really got shot by a bullet, but enough to really, like, mess with your senses to where, like, it might drop your shoulder, or it might swivel you a little bit, because it's not comfortable. And then you're gonna start seeing
got nerves when you get shocked. You're like, it'll hit you.
Yeah, I do think though, I think that's awesome. I do think in order for it to work, you have to meet in the middle a bit, right?
Yeah.
Because we're already dealing with a small pool. Of people in VR right away. And
small pool, get ready to get shot.
Yeah, you're gonna limit a lot of the guys or girls that want to actually be a part of that. You know what I mean? But I agree. I think very, very down the road future state of it, I would love to see it be all Infinidex, right? Where you don't have to be strapped in. You're just walking and running like you can. And that's where the consumer treadmills will get kind of cool. Is because the Infinidex's been out there forever. If you guys have seen that, it's literally the treads move as you move and in the direction you move. The downside is it weighs over a ton or 2 tons or something, right?
Yeah, but have them for events only,
Well, yeah, you could have it like that, yeah, and there'd be probably interesting ways you have to train for that, but yeah, that's where I see it working a little bit better instead of having to be strapped into something. But I'm sure that the first events, and this is totally acceptable and probably the way it has to go, are going to be obviously without all that.
Yeah.
But I do agree with you though on the physical aspect of you should be turning, you should be crouching, right? All that kind of stuff. I think that's what brings out the qualities of VR competitively versus just the PC games.
And there's something that I mentioned to Olen before. I go, just even start into this competitive type of using immersive things to actually feel real, to get people to watch it. It's maybe put in hey, Olen's VR gun stocks against some other competitors' gun stocks and have a full team versus his gun stocks and just see who wins. It's not going to narc on each one. It's both bad publicity. Oh my God, that's a tongue twister. It is good publicity. So, anyways, that was a mess of words. But anyways,
I'd be biting my fingernails the whole time.
Dang, dude.
The first time jBahr streamed with the spine, I was tripping the whole time. I was like, dude, all right, drum
You'd
roll.
have to pay
here we
me
go.
to play well. Yeah.
No, that'd be cool. But I think what I was thinking about with the upgraded treadmills and everything is how, racing right now as a whole, you have F1 and then you have NASCAR and then you have, the lower tiers. You got those people with that bougie FU money. They're gonna be using the 2-ton treadmills and riding them in their trucks and bringing them to events. I mean, I could see that being a possibility.
Well, that's my next thing I want to get to, by the way.
Yeah, they do stuff like that with like gun competitions, right? Like there's like for 3-gun, like I was talking about, like there's like I think like the highest one is like I forget what it's called, it's like tactical or something. But like the standard one that most people use, like, or there's like an iron sight one where you can only use iron sights, right? And you can't have any mods. And then there's like the mid-range one, which is usually if you're gonna have a sight, it's gonna be on your rifle, but you can only have one, right? So like you can put it on your pistol, you can put it on your rifle, whatever. And then there's like a full tactical one where it's like that's where people can bring out all their bougie shit. Like as long as it fits, like it's got to be this type of like a semi-auto shotgun, right? And this type of pistol, all that kind of stuff. Then they can have like any attachments, whatever. And those are like the ones where people just go all out, So yeah, I can see different like varying tiers of it once it's that point.
Yeah, and there's just not enough headsets out there like for lane events to even play around with that. So here's my biggest thing that I do not like about lane events, and I'm gonna pick on the NEPA Pro Series, for instance, because I'm not gonna pick on Vale. But so NEPA, they are a PCVR game and a standalone Quest game as well. So when they did their lane event, there's been people that have been playing at a high level, high frames on a PCVR, and then there's people that play on the lower grade of 90 frames per second on their Quest headset. When they did their lane event in St. Louis, they said, whoever's playing a PCVR, sorry, here's a Quest headset, this is what you're playing on. I'm sorry, but like if you're knocking people down that many frames or from being that fast at doing something, you're literally taking a pro player and you're taking away his way of playing.
But yeah, and that is where I think VR is just not to that level of maturity yet as a medium for esports, right? Like it's again, in my opinion, and it could be wrong, still being very developed. Like it sounds meaner than I'm when I the way that I want it to come off probably sounds better in my head than the way it sounds actually, but like I don't consider anybody right now a professional VR gamer. I'm sorry, and I know that there's like orgs and stuff out there. I just don't.
You're gonna make him burn his jersey.
I know.
Bro.
Hey, I got a jersey too, man, and it makes me feel great. But like, I'm definitely the farthest thing from a professional VR player. But it's just there's not the money's not there, right? And like the events aren't there. There's no like major events, and it doesn't have to be major. And like Vale's kind of starting it off, but there's got to be like yearly big events in order for me to like, in my opinion, my brain consider it, right? Like, and there's got to be like some real stakes in the game. You know what I mean? Like right now, like I'm in VREL. I don't know how some of the other leagues do it, but I'm not paying to be in this league, right? This is a free league, VREL, and it's free for everybody. Okay, but like that's why there's no prize pot.
Why is there not?
It, right? Like,
dude, why is there not? Like that bugs me. Like I've been playing competitive. I don't care. Then join an organization like Havoc. I'll pay your way.
Onward should be doing what Counter-Strike did back in the day, and this is what I always try to throw, and it's probably my fault. I'm probably too biased towards the Counter-Strike model, and that's probably not the perfect one for this, but the way that leagues in Counter-Strike did it back there, right? There was an open league, which was free. Anyone could play that. That was all basically teams starting out or people creating new teams.
Good for them, yeah.
And it's like once you get out of that, like, okay, now I'm in intermediate or I'm in main. And once you get out of that, based off how well you did in the playoffs, then it's like, okay, now it's $5 per person, right? Like, because like now you're taking the game more seriously, and we want to have a bigger, like, a cash pot at the end of it, and to help fund some stuff. So like, and then and then there was main and then pro, and you need like enough people to populate those. But when you have that, that's like the sign, in my opinion, of like a mature league, right? Is like people are putting money into it to play it, so they're gonna naturally take it more seriously, and that's where orgs come in, right? Like so Havoc, if you pick up, the Narco S guys, which again is a great pickup you would probably be more willing to like pay league entry fees
100%.
if they were going to be in a higher league, and like that's the whole point of being a part of an org.
Yeah,
like I love Homeland, and obviously you guys are in Havoc and all that, but like it's only a name until it starts doing things for you. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but like that's just what it is, right? That's the definition of an org, is if you bring on a team, but there's nothing you can do for these teams that you pick up until there's something to do.
Well, we can now. Like I said, like an organization now, like I told you in the very beginning of this podcast, it's like if people like you and I, who are on big established organizations, that we both are fortunate enough to have sponsorships that are people that are giving us not money, but they're giving us, product that are at least giving something to give them. Because since I'm not paying for their entry fee, then I got to give you something to be good enough to be on my team. And it's just like, if people don't start looking for these sponsorships or helping organizations now, when FaZe and Optic, when they want in, guess what? They're going to bring all their sponsorships and say, eat that. Come to us.
And I probably talk too soon with Olen right here, but yes, like gun stocks and stuff are awesome for like partnerships and stuff for people to come in. So like Olen was great, and for Homeland has all these custom stocks coming out, and I'm super pumped to see mine too. And it's
There's a part of it, by the way. I still have to assemble all of them.
Is that one mine?
You see it? Yeah, this one's actually yours. It's got.
Didn't you tell me on Discord it was sent out already? What the hell is this?
Yeah,
I got a
bad Yelp review coming up, buddy.
I'm doing drop shipping. Yeah, I know. Hey, I still haven't got that spine review.
No. I know you're actually not wrong about that,
dude. It's been a disaster with, it's a
I'm just
long
giving
story,
you shit,
but
buddy.
everybody, hey, you're lucky because you're not getting the broken one in the beginning, the screwed up print. So and I got your custom one. You and Cled. You have this thumb loop for the
yeah. I'm excited to try that out too.
That clearance. I watch you closely when you play on yours too. Like you made it work for what you have, but I was like, all right, it's gonna it'll
be an improvement.
He's gonna appreciate
for sure.
it. Yeah.
But so you get those kind of benefits, right? I remember when I was first starting out, we used to get these like really like lower level like kind of sponsorships as a Counter-Strike team, and it started with like sponsoring servers, right? Like I could see that being something that if Pavlov was more competitive, I would love Homeland to do that for me, right? Give me a community server that I can use at any point so that I can do dry runs with the team and that I could practice. And like I pay for my own now, and it's not like I have the time again to do like all this kind of stuff like I used to, but yeah, I remember that just being what was cool back in the day, right? Is just getting your league fees paid for and maybe getting a server so that you can screw around with stuff and kind of going from there. So I am excited to start seeing the leagues mature themselves, right? Because we're seeing VR, we're saying VR Master League is going to be around forever, but they need, I want to see some changes too. Like, again, love VR Master League. You guys are great, and they're probably not watching, but the site's old, like the site's kind of like, it's rough. So like, VREL is coming in with like a more modern site because they're kind of starting from the ground up. But yeah, like I'm liking that progression that I'm seeing. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm sure VRML is gonna get up there too. But I'm happy that I'm starting to see some changes that like I saw way back in the day when stuff with Counter-Strike around here was blowing up.
Yeah, and I I've been playing esports for 15 years, maybe even longer. But competitively actually making like a profit, 15 years. And like what you said with actually like getting your server and stuff like that, like I do want to give like some good hype up for like, if you haven't heard of them playing Pavlov, they're called pavlovscore.com. You probably have heard of them, but it's for you can literally buy their servers. You can either buy their regular one or you can buy their competitive one. And so you can already do that now in VR through them, where you can actually purchase a server for your team, which is cool. But like I 100% agree, like leagues aren't going to be leagues truly or being professionally until you actually have that stake in the game. Because I've seen so many leagues fail because, and not only that, and people can shit on me for what I'm about to say, but the number one thing that I do not like in leagues is when it gives the two opposition teams to pick a damn date to play with each other. Monday through Sunday, go ahead and play it. No, have a set day so when people want to play, you don't have to go out and look for people to cast your game. You say, hey, Friday's the day you play. This is the day we're casting it. Come here or not. And I think if people pay, that day might be a little more important to them.
Yeah, no, I agree. The having a stake in a game is literally what makes it a competition, right? Like I mean, we're just having fun if I'm joining the league for free, right, and playing, and there's nothing at the end.
And you can win cool prizes.
Yeah, you want to win something, right? Because it just makes you feel like all your work and everything. Like I'm sure, who is it, Wrecked, who's been like literally dumpstering every single team that they touch in Pavlov for the last probably since it started the seasons, right? They've been, all those guys are just nuts. They've been around forever. I'm more impressed that they wanted to stay around and keep doing it, right? Because they're not getting anything yet, right? Like they're not, by winning the league year after year, it's like, what are they getting out of that? Besides just
a little bit of money,
the title or the posterity. Like, I mean,
no
like,
sponsorships, nothing.
Yeah, like there's nothing coming out of it. So
they have no social media that show this. It's like at this point, I might as well take them and put on my website and at least actually get them a sponsorship.
Yeah, so it's just we're too early still. I think it's probably still got a couple years to go before things become, bigger and bigger. But it is growing very fast, I think. So like I don't think we're too incredibly far off from some of the things we're talking about here. I think it'll get there. And I'm excited for when it does, but we'll see what survives it, right? Because I'm not confident with the state that Pavlov is in that it's going to survive being a competitive game for too much longer, which is going to be very sad.
And that's because of their developing. Because I'm not going to name names, but they have no interest in providing any features for you all to make it a competitive, viewable game.
And what I've always said, and this is the controversial part, is crossplay. Like Onward took the hit back then, and it probably sucked for people who are super into Onward, right, and graphics wise. But look at their league now; they've got 100+ teams in North America. Pavlov's got 16 on a good season, So that, I mean, again, sure, you're taking that hit because the graphics and stuff, kind of whatever. And I don't want Pavlov to have to do that. I think we're getting close to the point where games don't have to compromise to be crossplay. Again, it might not be Quest 2 that is able to do that, but it might be something else down the road. But yeah, I mean, like not having crossplay for Pavlov is killing it because like you said, you played Shack Leagues. Like they've got a lot of teams. Like they're way ahead of Pavlov in terms of the amount of teams. And if you could just combine those, you got a league cooked up now, and actually something that people can play against each other and learn against each other and all that.
So I had this kind of speaks on this point and the point you guys were talking about where I forgot the organization they were told the users they got to downgrade their headsets to a Quest for
NEPA Pro Series.
NEPA Pro Series. And I mean, like if you look at other flat screen tourneys and stuff right now, they all have a standard set of this is the monitor you're going to run. You're all going to pretty much run the same PC. You can bring your keyboard and your mouse, but as far as the other stuff, it's all set in place. So there has to be some type of standard. No matter what, they have to make a decision of okay, we're all going to stick to this line of performance. So and with VR, it's more tricky because you have a majority of people playing the crappier versions of it, but I think you just got to bite the bullet on that.
Honestly, I don't know how I feel about that. I think I feel slightly different, only in the fact that because it's VR, like I think it just surface level for me, it makes more sense that if your headset can play whatever the game is, like that's what you should be bringing your own headset at this point, right? Like, because but very high level, like flat screen tournaments, right? Like for any game, like they have their own computers there, right? They have their own setup, but that's normally because of like how they have to network everything in and how they have to do everything. But you bring your own peripherals, right? And I don't know, VR is an interesting one, right? Because you play so long with something that's at some point got to be somewhat conformed to your face, right? Like you get it's just you just
like a
feel
baseball
better.
Glove.
You break it in a bit for you, and I think that's where with VR, I would almost go a different direction. I would say like you can use whatever is out there, but I see where you're going. Because,
but here's the thing,
okay, well, what if I have the Pimax 12K and I can see like literally the whites of your eyes from 100 yards away, like. Yeah, I mean that could be a bit of an advantage.
But it's like how they do in Pancake Gaming. They can bring their own mouse and keyboard, which is almost like bringing your own headset and your own controllers. But every single headset can be PC VR. So it's just like bring a headset that you've been playing, and then if you're on the Vive or the Index or whatever, we'll have to set your sensors up. But then if you're playing Oculus, then cool. All we have to do is freaking put a freaking USB-C 3 cord on you, and you're good.
Yeah.
So
it'll be weird for a while. I mean, like we're gonna see a mix of I think everything we're talking about for quite a while. And again, like every game that we're seeing now is not what's going to survive competitively.
No,
right?
No.
So like it's just you got to see what comes out on top, and I don't think any of us can really like accurately predict what that's going to be because, I mean,
hardwired. I would say hardwired.
Hardwired,
like how they had the base stations and everything, like the hardwired index setups. Like you can have a wireless mouse and everything and a wireless keyboard, yes, but for 100% reliability, you're going to want to be plugged in every time.
It's true, but
have you seen the new index? Have you seen the new index?
The Deckard is what I was going to bring.
Are you going to talk about the Deckard?
You think it's going to be as capable with the base stations?
Their latency is
nuts. I want it to be as capable.
Me too.
I have no idea how it's going to happen. And then the other problem is you put 10 people in a room with all their outside tracking. Like, how does that mess with things? Maybe you have to do some weird box thing. But I agree that like hardware naturally seems like the way to go too. And it's the way I still use a wired mouse, right? Because of I've got it baked in my brain. Like it's just better. And even though like wireless mouse these days though like are pretty damn like they're pretty much 1-to-1 at this point, I think.
Yeah.
So it just really depends. Like if the Deckard can like my version of like the future of this, like again, is like I wanted this to be some like weird ass like West Side Story type shit where like if someone's like coming up to me, right, instead of us fighting, I got my headset right here, buddy, and you throw it on and like you 1v1 them right there on the street. You know what I mean? Like you can snapping your fingers. So,
dude, I'm down for that.
But you know what I mean? Like I and again, the Deckard's still probably gonna be bigger, but like you imagine like where it could be like more of like a smaller form factor type thing. You just throw over your eyes, like then that stuff becomes more real. But you're right. It's got to be responsive enough, and the tracking's got to be able to handle it, and that's the tough part.
Yeah.
We'll see though, man. I'm excited for that Deckard.
You never know. Elon Musk with his thing that he's making right now with putting a chip in your head and pretty much
Neuralink.
Yeah, Neuralink. Who knows how that's gonna go?
I was just talking to a buddy about that over the weekend, and it's like you kind of start to. He's never seen Black Mirror, surprisingly, but everything as we talked about different scenarios of how it could be good and bad leads to that show, because when you get something plugged in your brain, it's only a matter of time before like somebody else is gonna be able to get a hold of it, and then they can alter your entire reality without you having any idea until the first time someone says, "Oh, I figured it out." Like catfishing, for example, is the same scenario. Like you never know what catfishing is until Manti Te'o, that football player, saw that documentary.
His fake girlfriend or whatever.
Yeah, that was a good documentary, by the way. But like, until you heard about it, like you might see freaking demons in your house and shit, or excuse my language, but you're freaking out, and then all of a sudden you figure out it's the guy next to you, the little 12-year-old kid next to you got a little Wi-Fi receiver or something in his room.
Yeah.
With you. Like, there's too much. I feel like it's too volatile to have something in your head.
Yeah, I mean it's like Cyberpunk. Like when you're playing the game, you can literally hack people's hardware to freaking confuse the shit out of them.
Yeah.
Even to blow their brain up.
I mean, you guys, like in our lifetime, we're not going to be like drilling chips into our heads. You
don't think so?
Oh,
no. I mean, they're already doing
so.
it with like they're testing and stuff. I mean, are you? Like, are you like?
I
think here's where I'm getting at. I think we are of a generation where we know that that's bad, but think about the young, Timmy Squeaker on Population 1 right now, right? Who's having the fucking time of his life.
You're telling me
he's told that he can just fucking, it's just gonna be.
You're telling me I can be a gorilla in real life?
Yeah, exactly. Like, you can play gorilla tag wherever you want.
I'd climb that wall right now.
Yeah, so you know what I mean? Like, I think we're like, hopefully, right? We would be a little bit more cautious. I do I don't know. Like, I feel like I'm pretty close to the type that like if it looked cool enough, I would be like, all right, just incision here, right, and put a chip in, whatever. I want my own encrypted Wi-Fi coming out of my body or whatever. But yeah. I mean, I'm definitely one of those people that gets pretty close to that, but I do try to like make sure that I'm like putting up my own guardrails around.
Yeah,
I do think I'd put a limit to like some brain Neuralink chip, but
VPN to your phone. What's your password to your brain?
Yeah, what's the VPN for your head?
If I can take it off, I'm fine. I think that would be my limit, right? Like if it's like something that we can just put on and take off, and nothing can stop me from taking it off, I'd probably be more willing.
Well, have you seen that new Apple show?
I'm not an Apple guy, so I don't have any Apple TV or whatever you're.
So, there's an Apple show, and I can't remember.
Ted Lasso's good though. I saw.
Yeah, that was good. So there's a show, and I can't remember the name to save my life, but so basically they put this chip in their brain to where their real lives and their work lives are two separate people. So once they hit a certain door point into work, that's all they know is work. And then as soon as they walk out, the people that live out in the original world, that's all that they know. And they create these two different personalities and these two different lives. And like they want to, and like they'll mess up sometime where they'll wake some guy up and he sees his kids. He goes, "I never knew I had freaking kids." It's like, dude, it is a good show.
Is that the one with the dude from Parks and Rec?
Yes, yeah, the dude from Parks and Rec.
I've heard about that one, and yeah, I want to watch it. I just don't want to freaking pay it up for another subscription.
Dude, it's pretty good. And just the theory on it is so weird, and it's just like they don't know that these people like literally hate themselves because all they're doing is work, and that's all they know. It's like,
yeah. It seems sad, but like it's a very compartmentalized way of, I guess, going about life, right? But
yeah,
I mean, like you could see that being real, right? Like if I'm home, I want to enjoy being home, And
that's all they know is being home.
Work, but
you never have to work. You're working, but you never have to. And they're like, yeah, like sometimes I feel rested, and sometimes I feel like I got a headache and everything. They probably hung over drinking the night before, having a good time. I don't have to deal with it.
It's like having a clone. Yeah, that's crazy.
There you go.
But so we have gone on for a solid 2 hours, and as much as I would love to continue this on, we will for like a quick second because I want you to kind of finish this out, and I do want you to talk about beer and headshots because that's one thing we didn't touch on. Just kind of end this podcast. If you want to just talk about that, I know you have a community base behind it. I know it's part of like, is it your team that you put together? Like, is it the beer and headshots team that goes and watch you on Twitch, or like how's that work?
Wait, sorry, say that one more time. Like, is it beer and headshots in general?
Yeah. So you what's a guy who streams on Facebook? He has like his own little group of people, and they call him something like the Hater Club. Like, Hater that plays Population 1 all the time, he has the Hater Club. Like, is this a community you build around your VR, your streaming, or is it just something that you just enjoy?
So, that's actually an interesting question. So, I've technically streamed for like a decade, but not as Beer and Headshots, right? Like, some of my early on streams was just literally Counter-Strike. Like, I streamed on Twitch before there was like an affiliate program. There was only partner, and it was a lot harder to get into any of that. And obviously, I never made into that. But like, I remember having like 50 plus viewers consistently because I was Global Elite in Counter-Strike Go early on when it came out, right? And that's what I streamed for a while. And I just streamed under jBahr, but like that was like, again, I'm 31 now, so like, about 10 years ago I'd have been like, 21, 22, and
let me interrupt real quick. Is that available?
Is what?
Internet? Is there any video of that on the internet? I'm very curious to see what that looks like.
Probably not on the internet. I probably have some of those clips.
You gotta share
post them
that
in my Discord. I do actually have some sitting around. I don't
TikTok
know. Like,
material.
I used to record all my streams back then, so I think I actually have like a backlog of a ton of really old jBahr streams.
Yeah,
probably some of them without a mustache.
Before and after VR.
Think about that. I'll look for that after or well, maybe not after this, but I'll look for that soon and just remind me, because then I could probably post a couple of random ass clips to.
I think people would really like that.
My Discord. But yeah, so I was doing that for a while, right? And like, but I've never, like, I've always wanted to do content. Actually, me and my older brother almost did like a little bit of like a gaming review thing on YouTube way back in the day, and it was, you guys probably know how it goes too. It's hard to stick with that stuff, especially as you got a career going, and I was getting a family at that time, so I was just like streaming, just hitting live and doing whatever, and that was under jBahr, and I tried out a couple other things, but like way back, I basically, when I was like, all right, how do I want to do content in the future if I was gonna do this? Like, it's always been pipe dream stuff. I've always done this as a hobby because, like, I didn't want to put all my chips in it, and I think that's a benefit that I have, is that I kind of not that I ever would, because I really enjoy doing this, but I could quit at any time and be fine, what I mean? Like, so I have, like, I'm able to just feel a lot more lax about it, versus some people, like, they go all in on it, right? And like, this is what I'm gonna do, and it's either gonna work or it's not. I think I have the advantage where I've always kind of played it a little safe, and disadvantage. It's probably hurt me along the road. But so I used to stream under like jBahr, played a lot of Counter-Strike, and just a lot of like random flat screen games, but very inconsistently. And there was actually a long period of time there where I traveled for work, and I was gone, usually like at least a week out of every month, if not more. And so I was traveling a lot, so I really didn't stream during those periods of time. And then I picked up streaming basically a while back. I wrote down a list of a bunch of different names, and I don't know why. I just felt like streaming under jBahr, I how do I say? I don't know. I just felt like I had
Wasn't
like
you.
Less of it. Well, it is me. Like literally, family and friends call me jBahr. Like everybody calls me jBahr because my
wanted
name
a
is
persona.
Josh Bahr,
You went
by the way.
outside of family and friends, right?
Kind of. So I wanted. I feel like that layer of separation is what helped me, right? But like my name is Josh Bahr, so like jBahr is not like a clever name that I have that gives me a different persona.
I literally thought that was your name.
Yeah, jBahr is literally just me, right? Like, and like again, you know, friends and family call me that, you know, everybody. So it's just kind of me. And so I just felt like, you know, I was hitting live and just doing just whatever, doing whatever. I wrote down a bunch of names, and I remember one night where I wrote down a shit ton. And I like went and got the Gmail accounts. I bought domains. I bought all this other shit, you know, or I just signed up for like, you know, on all social medias. I'm like, I'm just going to reserve these and see what I want to do. And I just remember at one point, once I stopped traveling for work, I went back to my list, and like Beer and Headshots is just the one that stood out because I'm like, it's a very basic idea, right? And it kind of it harkens back to, I was still kind of holding on at the time to like my younger years of doing like LAN events and just really gaming, right? And like just really having a good time. And like when I got older, you know, I was hosting LAN parties in my garage. I had a really big garage at my old house with buddies, and you know, you'd have beers and you'd play games and like, you know, Team Fortress 2 Fort sniping, and like you're just having beers and having a good time. So I liked the how do I say it, like the culture of that, the vibe of that, whatever, you know, just having a good time. And you know, just having drinks and playing games, and I was always into shooters. I was always into esports. So Beer and Headshots was just like, it's like literally the most basic personification of that, right? It's just like literally saying, I like to drink beer and I like to shoot stuff. So like that's kind of what it came down to. And it feels like in a way when I started doing that, it took a lot of this pressure off of me, right? Like there was no actual pressure, but it was more like, okay, all I have to do is have a good time and play games, and that's what I'm streaming. Like, I'm not trying to be like a name in the industry. I'm just trying to have a brand that I can just say, this is Beer and Headshots. When I'm not doing this, I'm being jBahr out here, which is very close. It's the same thing, right? But like, I'm just doing whatever. But like, yeah, Beer and Headshots just kind of gave me that direction. It's like, I'm not worried about playing what other people want. I'm just going to worry about what I want. And the time I quit this is when I stop having fun with it, right? Like I want to keep it at that level where it feels like a hobby, but now that I've been making a little more off it, right, and I'm getting a little bit more funded through it, like it that part motivates me, but it's not like directing me to go a certain way because I still have my safety net of like my career and all that kind of stuff, right? So I'm able to do what I want. I'm able to say no to what I want, and I'm able to just kind of have a good time with it. And if it works out that way, then I feel successful, right? And then I mean, like, you know, pipe dream stuff again, and that if I can do this sustainably and make a better living than I'm doing now with my career, then even better, right? Because then I've slow burned it so much, and I've tailored this so much to my personality and my style. Like anyone that comes into my stream, like we have so many regulars, like Olen knows this too, like I don't have to run a lot of my streams because like most of the people that come into my stream just know how I do things and like how I answer things and all that. And it kind of carries itself in a way, which is super nice. So like that's like the community now is, I don't call everybody anything. Like it's more of just been building up these people that I get to know and that I'm either friends with or like we have this stream relationship, you know, things like that. So it feels a little bit more like a legit community because I wasn't starting off with like any sort of, now I have like the treadmill, right? But when I started off, I wasn't like I didn't have any sort of like gimmick. It was just me doing shit. And then like so like, you know, the people that came in and stayed in were just kind of there for me. And just for hanging out, right, and being friends and kind of all that. And that's just kind of built up and up. So like, I don't know. I just think the way I did it, I have this strong foundation, you know, and yeah, there's nothing else I would rather do as kind of like a side hobby thing. So the community is just kind of like a part of Beer and Headshots at this point. Like I don't have a specific name for it, but it's more about the getting together and just having a good time with video games. And the way I'll cap this off, because again, I could talk forever. But the way I'll cap this off is like, you know, I'm not, you know, I personally, on a personal level, right, I hate politics. I hate everything like that. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to talk about that. I don't want that to be a part of my stream, like, because no one should listen to me. Like, I don't know anything. Like, I just do shit and have a good time with it, right? And that's where I want to connect to people. I want to stay in that sweet spot, right? Like, I want to stay in that sweet spot of just getting to know people based off of something that we both enjoy. And because I got so into VR, I found this community, and it was a lot easier to connect with people because it was a lot more tight knit, So we have all these people, and some of my people still aren't even like VR folks, but they just kind of are going on this like journey with me a bit. And yeah, I mean, that's just kind of how it's started and where it's ended up. Is I'm just happy in my sweet spot here, and I'm gonna keep it going as long as I can, and keep finding fun things to do. And my focus has always been on like, just esports and technology in general, and VR's got some cool stuff coming up with that, like we've talked about for the last couple hours. Yeah. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Oh, I think you
answers a few.
I think you 100% covered everything that I wanted to ask. So
good.
Just to give you some praise too. I was never really I've tried to stream myself a little bit, but I wasn't much of an active Twitch stream viewer for the most part. I'm really all about like YouTube videos and YouTube series and things like that. But with your channel, you're always consistent. Like, unless you're literally have like COVID or something, you're not going to show up. But every time you go, like, you just know what to expect every time. It's the same vibe, it's the same energy, and exactly like talking about technology, talking about new VR stuff, and talking about esports. It's like that's what you're there for. You know what you're getting, and everybody's cool. Nobody ever bashes in each other. Like, everybody's super nice. And
that's the part that I don't even believe about my own stream. So sorry, Grelsky. I'm gonna try to keep it short again. But the
you're good.
So my stream, my stream was doing pretty well for a while, but it really blew up because of TikTok. And I avoided, as an IT guy, right, who I've got like certifications and security shit. So I was like worried about TikTok until I was just like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Like, what? I mean. The government or whoever probably already has whatever information they want of me. So once I got into TikTok, though, right, I had one video that blew up, right? Just like this Ready Player One comparison video with the treadmill and all that kind of stuff. So when that was blowing up, I was getting about 150 like average viewers in the stream, 100, 250 for like a month. Like I basically, it qualified me to apply for partner, which I didn't get. No one gets it on the first try. And then it tapered off, right? Like, and then I've started getting busy. So it's been slower, but that's okay. While we were hitting those viewers for a month straight, I think we only banned like less than a handful of people.
That ain't bad.
Like troll wise, like, and there was a lot coming through the stream at that period of time because that video ended up with upwards of like 8 million views, right? And I would go streaming on Twitch while that was blowing up, and that's where those people came from, right? They were coming from TikTok over to the Twitch. And I was going live on TikTok as well, and my TikTok streams, and some of them still do, and that's a whole nother topic too. But like, if I go live on TikTok, a lot of times, like throughout the entire TikTok live, there could be 300,000 people that have been through that stream, right? So I was just getting so much traction, and we only had to ban less than a few people, right? And that was like a really good, like, that I never talked about it on stream, but that gave me such a good feeling, right? That like, it wasn't like only trolls were coming in and people that just wanted to fuck with me or whatever.
You got FTF though.
We do got FTF. I mean, I got that just like keeps me centered a little bit. I need to have someone trolling, and it's kind of nice that, he's still kind of on my side, but kind of not, But yeah, it was a very, that was like very eye opening for me, because not only did I have like content that was kind of blowing up at the time, which was just really weird, but the absolute just sheer amount of people that were interested in what I was doing versus wanting to just fuck with it was it was inconsequential. It was minimal, right? Like, again, banning, I would probably say less than 5 people over that month of getting like 150 average people the whole time. And I think through that time, I got about 4,000 new followers, right? Like,
Dang.
So it was a big month for me, right? And of course, like everything that comes like that, it's going to drop because like not everybody there is going to stay there. But that was really eye-opening in terms of like the community and what I had there, because while that was going on, I couldn't read everything, but people that have been in my stream for a while now, like, were answering all these questions for me that like were already, that they already know how I answered it and all that. So it was cool seeing it be a little bit self-sustaining, so that was just great. And like, I mean, again, it's a big testament to my community because I couldn't have handled any of that probably without people just deciding to help out. So.
Oh yeah, every time a new person came in, how's the treadmill work?
Yeah, or how much does it cost? Like literally nonstop. Or like in TikTok, this is my favorite comment is why don't you just go to war? It's like, well, not that that's a question anyone on the stream needs to answer, but it's like, why would I
rebuttal?
do that?
Rebuttal? Why don't you go back?
Yeah, it's like, well, that's hard to do every day, you know, and like, you know, but yeah, people will say it's like, why don't you just do paintball or airsoft? And I'm like, I'm pretty sure the girlfriend would get pissed if I was doing that in the house, you know, like I don't. Like,
how about I just don't want to? And
it's like, have you guys ever had a hobby like that? That shit costs a lot of money, and I paid a certain amount for this, and I can just do this now whenever the fuck I want. You know, like
you buy it once and you're good.
Yeah. So I have a great community, so I do appreciate you saying that too, Olen. Is, you know, it's been nice having you, and honestly, like it keeps me going a lot. Like I love doing it. I love hopping on and going live with it. But just like, you know, knowing that there's people there that like I can just like talk to and we can just shoot the shit, and it's like you just make these like real relationships and friends, and that's what keeps it going.
For sure. Yeah, it's always good to have good communities like all you have.
So you got a event coming up, I heard. There's something coming up this weekend.
We do. Are we good to do that stuff? Should I shout out some stuff before we?
I mean, I on my end,
If I don't shout out my shit, then I'll just keep talking about stuff. So I'm fine with that too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm good, honestly. I might have to go to the bathroom, but.
Yeah, I know. I'm like 4 beers in. I probably should take a piss at some point, but.
There's never been a potty break on stream yet, so. I mean, I'm going live. No, never on the podcast going live. And you know,
throw on the pull-ups. Or what?
And then that's the funny thing is that like I love watching like Joe Rogan. It's like every once in a while they go really long. And they got to pee. I'm just like, you know, maybe I'll have a long podcast that one day. We got to take a pee.
So, I mean, you got 2 of you now, right? So as long as you guys stagger,
exactly,
you know,
exactly.
I mean, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
But so I was just gonna go with Olen. Like you say, you have events coming up.
Mm-hmm. I do. So I have on Saturday a charity stream. Let me double check just so I don't say this wrong. We are so I signed up with this company called Soft Giving for a year, right? Mm-hmm. They're a great company, and basically all they do is they facilitate charities through streamers, right? So like all of the money and anything that gets donated, and this is like my 4th or 5th one that I've done through them now, so we're pretty good at it. But none of the money even touches me. It all goes straight to a charity. And we actually had my community, people in Beer and Headshots, vote. We have like this list of 10, 11, 12 something charities. And this time we are, so we are supporting Hope for a Day charity. So this is the same one that we did last time, because we're doing 2 different charities over the course of 4 quarters. So Hope for a Day, it's all about kind of just like, you know, like mental illness awareness essentially, and like helping folks out that are out there that need that kind of help, and don't typically have good access to it. So that's where all the money goes. Mm-hmm. So we are doing that this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Central Time. And throughout the stream, we have all these milestones. I'm still kind of getting them all sorted out, but we do a lot of giveaways during these because it just seems to be a good time. Like sometimes I have companies that are like, oh, you know, we can do this giveaway, blah, 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 if you want to do it. And I try to kind of actually hold on to those for these big charity streams because it just gets more people in. And then, you know, I don't want people only there to give money because it's always awkward to ask for that. But when you have a prize there, it's just, you know, a little bit more incentive for people to kind of come in for that. So I know Olen here has a spine that's up for grabs with a bungee sling. So the nice stormtrooper looking white one. We got some stuff from like Mr. Tass's Etsy shop. I have Aubica, I believe, providing 2 different head straps. So one that's non-battery powered and the other one that is. That gives you like an extra few hours to your quest. Mm-hmm. And then I have jBahr, who's giving away 2 different versions of their quest attachment kits that do like things like you know, like your Beat Saber rods and things like that. So basically, and some more that I'm still kind of waiting to hear back from. But probably some game keys and all that. But yeah, we're giving away all that kind of stuff, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. this Saturday. And yeah, it all goes to a good cause. So it'll be. I'm
waiting on the day you do either a haptic vest or a treadmill giveaway.
A treadmill. Dude, to be honest, I should.
It'll be huge.
At some point, I should talk to Cat VR about that. I think I got a little bit of power there. You know, I like, honestly, they've been great. Like anytime I've asked them questions, they've been super responsive. They always help me out. Like, and we kind of go back and forth, and I kind of let them know what I'm doing sometimes just to see what they're interested in. I should like, sometimes I'll flex nuts a few times, but like that's a big one. So like I gotta build it up.
Here's one shoe. We'll give you a set of shoes to give away.
Yeah. But that's actually a good point.
It's up to them to get the treadmill.
That's right. But that is a good point. I think I could probably we'd have to. That would be something where once I get caught up with things, just because I've been so busy lately, I would be more than happy to try to push for it. Because I do think that would be like kind of like the ultimate giveaway for like my stream, right? Because we've been like the sole guy that's been running around on this thing for a long time now.
You've given them a lot of
Yeah, well, are you on their website? Are you their spokesperson yet?
No, just Olen. He's the only one who's willing to put me on his site.
Dang.
Oh yeah, dude, I'm more than happy to do it. Shit.
I do have actually one of my YouTube videos is on their website on the main page. I think if you scroll down, you gotta scroll down a little bit.
And on their TikTok.
You gotta go below Thrill Seeker because I'm like real close to him in subs, but
yes, I saw your picture on Olen's website, and just to match it, I sent him the same way that you're holding with my jersey with my name on my bag.
Dude, yeah. So I was putting together a banner too for the Veil booth, and it's an 8x3. It's gonna be above everything, and what I was gonna do is have my logo, and then jBahr with the one pointing that way with the hand up front, and then you holding it sideways. And then, cool. My girlfriend walked in. She's like, nope. I was like, what do you mean no? She's like, no, just because like the lighting. Because right now you can even see the difference between you guys now. That's what it kind of looks like. jBahr is more of like a reddish and I'm not like a major professional with Photoshop. And I was like, she's like, it's too much. Yeah, she's like, it's too much. It doesn't look. It just you want it to be simple and
too much.
You don't even know your brand. Yeah, so. But yeah, I definitely want to do more stuff like that in the future. But yeah, getting those pictures from you guys would be
Yeah, you know what? Instead of putting on the poster, get 2 life-size pop-ups of us, cutouts.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
If we do a cutout though, I want to wait until my mustache is long enough where like the mustache part would come outside of the cutout, outside of my head. So it's
I'm putting glitter on that part, by the way.
There you go.
No. What he's gonna do is he's just gonna actually put real hair in the cutout so people can come up and twirl your mustache.
To be honest, I'd donate some trimmings for that. You know what I'm saying? Like
I don't know if whoever wants to stick it to that, then be my guest. Handle the jBahr hair.
The jBahr hair. That sounds.
I'll start sending you baggies. We'll see what happens.
Then like months later, he goes, "By the way, that wasn't my facial hair. You think I was gonna ruin this mustache?"
Oh God.
I thought it was a little more curly than usual.
I was gonna say, I'd have to straighten them or something before I sent them.
So, anyways, So, everyone, go check out that stream. I'm gonna have to cut that section out and put it on, and also send it to you if you want to use it for TikTok as well. But I'll try and cut it out. I told Olen I'm just god awful at using TikTok. It's just, not for my age group of people. Like I like watching it. I spend like hours watching TikTok and making them. Man, like I have trouble.
If I give you one tip. The videos I've put the least amount of effort on are the ones that have done the best.
That's good.
Like literally, you put no thought into it, and like it'll be some stupid idea you have at night, and I have a Trello board or whatever that I like put notes on. It's like I'll just have a stupid idea, be like, oh, let's try this. It's always like my video that blew up was literally it took me 15 minutes to record and edit and put together and post. And before that I had tried like these heavily edited, like I was really trying to like, and not over the top, like I thought I was doing okay, but nope, none of that shit matters. It's like it's the simplest things that work, and as long as it keeps attention, it's good. But it's a gamble, man. Like you just got to keep trying.
For sure,
it's tough.
Sure. Oh yeah,
that's where everyone is though, honestly.
But as much as we talk, we'll definitely have to have you come back on, because this is a podcast that we'll have to continue with more fun stuff as things come out, because it does seem like you do, as your community as well, like care about the product that you're trying and stuff like that. And like I'm not gonna say like what names, but like even like Olen said, like some people, and I've even mentioned like even trying to get some people on this podcast, like they look at me sometimes, they're just like, oh, you're averaging 50 to 100 views, cool, go F yourself, like bye. It's like nope, and it's like so. It's always nice to have people come on, because the guests make the podcast. If it's not, then it's just me and Olen just picking at each other the whole entire time,
That could be fun too.
Yeah. Well, now, because before I had no co-host, so I was just like, what do I do? I guess I'm just drinking this night and not getting to do my stream.
There you go.
So, but other than that, Olin, you have anything you want to end with?
No. I'm all good. I'm good to be here again every
Check
Monday.
out olenvr.com, huh?
Yeah, I mean, go through to my website if you want to. Olen VR. I didn't want to make like this podcast too much about me. Let's see if I can make it translate.
it's right above you.
My hands are too short. But yeah, Olen VR is my website. We do have a link to the Veil custom stock we currently have going on there. It's a little bit more pricey, but it's limited. That's for sure limited, and that's a couple hundred, and then they're done. And yeah, hopefully we see some of you folks at the Veil tourney. And yeah.
Yeah, it's like 3 weeks now, less than that almost. That's crazy.
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah,
I'm really excited for it. But anyways, thanks again, jBahr. As people know, his little logo is right there. Beer and Headshots. Go check that community out. And if you have never seen the treadmill or anything that he works with, I highly recommend going and watching his live stream, or even just going and seeing his past stuff as well. But as you all know, this is Havoc's podcast. You know, you can see us live. All of our stuff's about to kick up finally, so you'll be seeing a lot of Havoc, videos going on. This is the year of the content. I'm trying to ramp up as much content as possible for that team. But other than that, next week we have Rucked Up back up again. Their logo is up there. Geez, my finger right there. Just to talk more why he's up there, and just because we're just trying to build a team of lovely people, just trying to build community. So other than that, that's next Monday, 9 p.m. East. Is that right? Yeah, 9 p.m. East. But thanks again, Olin. Have a good. I'll see you next Monday, jBahr.
Yeah. Hey, cheers, guys. Honestly, thanks for having me on, man. This is a lot of fun. I haven't done a lot of these yet, obviously, but as you can tell, I like talking about shit. So this was a lot of fun. It was, Olin, I like you. Growlsky, it's great to actually meet you and kind of shoot the shit a bit. So, cheers, guys. A lot of fun. Appreciate you.
Not a problem. And like I said, we're gonna have you on again. Don't worry about that. So, everyone, see you later.
Cheers. Bye now.